The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series is presented on Speed by Toyota. Moving forward. Brought to you in part by Craftsman. Craftsman tools are the official tools of NASCAR. Craftsman at Sears. And by Optima Batteries, the ultimate power source.
Welcome back, Texas Motor Speedway here in the Fort Worth, Texas area, the Dallas-Fort Worth area. It's a gorgeous day or evening for racing. The one thing is the wind has been unbelievable, Phil.
It really has. And again, they're calmer today than they were yesterday. We had gusts up to 40, 50 miles an hour when these guys were on the racetrack.
Let's take a look at our Optima Batteries track description for this mile-and-a-half racetrack. People talk about this being one of the fastest tracks we come to.
It really is, and it's mature. This racetrack is over 10 years old now. You can see 24-degree banking in the corner. Makes for some great side-by-side racing. The front stretch over 2,200 feet long. Speeds upwards of 185 miles an hour on the straightaways here.
Now you talk about maturing and the lanes getting wider. How does that happen with a track?
Anytime you have a new asphalt, you got to put the rubber down, and it's hard to get rubber down very quickly. Again, 10 years of rubber. They repaved this racetrack actually a couple different times, changed the configuration, how you enter and exit the corners, made it a lot racier.
Here's our Royal Purple synthetic oil race analysis. Only 35 trucks starting tonight, one short of a full field, 250.5 miles, 167 laps. By the way, that's 400 kilometers for those of you that are trying to figure out how 400 factored into this.
You see the purse over $700,000, and the pit window is somewhere between 52 and 58 laps. And now that's going to be real critical because the guys are telling me there's a lot of fall off in the tires, more so than we've ever seen here at Texas. A little bit softer compound has allowed these tires to really give up a little bit more than they usually do.
Trucks are all pointed toward the grandstand. It's one of the things that they do here at Texas to bring the fans just a bit closer to the drivers. And they are here to hear the engine start. So let's get them started. Let's go down for today's command.
And now, race fans, it's time for those most famous words in motorsports. Please welcome back Boyd Paul Hamus as he gives the command.
On behalf of Sam's Town Shreveport and the Boyd Gaming Corporation, welcome to Texas Motor Speedway and the Sam's Town 400. Gentlemen, start your engines!
Well, there was some enthusiasm. The engines are fired. The trucks are ready to roll around this mile-and-a-half racetrack. Will we have another first-time winner? We're about to find out. The green flag is next. Welcome back to the Sam's Town 400. The field rolling around the racetrack now here at Texas Motor Speedway, Fort Worth, Texas. The side of race number 9 of our 2008 season. Want to take a look at our starting grid. It'll roll across the bottom of the screen. Again, Justin Marks claiming his first ever pole. Will start on the inside of row number 1. Outside him, Mike Skinner.
8th consecutive front row start here at Texas for Mike Skinner.
Unbelievable for, well, Mike Skinner. But again, when we talk about qualifying, nothing, I guess, is unbelievable for that man. We do want to shine a spotlight on a few different drivers, and we're going to begin with Bobby East. Ray Dunlap, what have you got on him?
Well, I'll tell you, Rick, Bobby East knows he only has a handful of races in this Zaxby's Ford to show that he's a driver that deserves a shot. And he had a great shot at winning just a few weeks ago. He won the night before the 500 at ORP. That's one of the biggest races in USAC short track racing. He's won about 30 times in USAC, but that night he dominated. He led all 50 laps. I talked to him just before the race began tonight. I said, what's your goal? He says, my goal is a top 10. I believe the Roush Fenway trucks are good enough to get it done. Adam?
Eric Almirola, a driver we've not heard from in a while in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, driving the 46 machine from Morgan Dollar Motorsports tonight, rolling off in the 11th position. This is the first of 2 races. He's also going to be in the truck next week at Michigan. Almirola, a DEI development driver, splitting time with Mark Martin in the Sprint Cup Series. Martin running in Pocono this weekend. Almirola is here, and he's got 9 starts throughout the remainder of 2008 in that 8 car at the Sprint Cup level. Phil?
Adam, I want to take a look at the number 63 truck of P.J. Jones. P.J. is one of the most versatile drivers that we have in NASCAR. He's run Indy cars. He's won at IMSA. He runs Cup cars. He runs nationwide cars. He really can do it all. He's going to run a handful of races here in this 63 truck. Dave Porter, auto sales on the quarter panels. He made contact with a wall after a cut tire yesterday, so he got a very limited amount of track time. He qualified in the 30th position. Just looking to have a decent run tonight, get a good finish, and something to build on with the Smittler Brothers racing team.
Rick? I want to jump in on this spotlight, and I'm going to stick with the initials for the first name. TJ Bell is tonight driving the 7 truck that normally Andy Lally would be in that truck, but Andy is going to be busy tomorrow at the Grand Am Sports Car Series, the 6 hours at the Glen. So he will be involved with that, and that is again on Speed tomorrow. That coverage begins at 11. But again, let's get back to TJ Bell in this truck who we're shining our spotlight on. His sponsor, Heathcliff Cat Litter, is really proud to be associated with Home for the Holidays. And what that does is it finds pets homes that are currently in difficult areas that need homes, and so they've been doing a great job taking care of that. We're going to ride along with a few different drivers tonight. One of those being Stacy Compton will drive along with his Dodge Onboard.
We're also going to ride with a 4-time winner here at Texas, the Onion, and the Lumber Liquidators Toyota Onboard. Todd will start from the 6th position, looking to make it 5 wins here at Texas.
Our Ford Onboard will be carried by Eric Darnell in that number 99 Ford F-150. Eric Darnell has a victory in this series, and it came on a 1.5-mile racetrack. Could he get number 2 tonight? We're going to have to wait to find out. Roush Fenway looking to score another victory. We take a look at the trucks moving to the back, one of those being the 51 of Kyle Busch, the other one being the 22 of Scott Speed. Before the green flag flies, let's get some final thoughts. Ray Dunlap.
Well, Rick, I think the wind could be a big factor here tonight. You see the flags blowing right now. It's 19.4 miles an hour on the weather station down here in the pits right now, but we expect it to be much greater in gusts. Now, when we look at the different racetracks across the weekend right now, wind isn't going to be a factor at any of the other places, but here at Texas tonight, it could be a big factor, and especially down in turn 3. You've got to keep your eye on that corner. When these guys go running 2 and 3 wide down there, if they get a big gust, it could be a big problem. Adam?
And one guy that knows all about the wind in Texas is Ovala, Texas native, and that would be Colin Brown. The Rookie of the Year leader has not won in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, and that's surprising. The reason why? Because we've had 3 consecutive first-time winners. He starts 20th tonight, and maybe this evening is when it will happen for him. The reason why? He's got a great piece of equipment under him. Travis Quapple drove this truck last year to a 6th-place finish here at Texas. He also recorded wins at Michigan, Nashville, and Las Vegas. Colin Brown likes the truck, and he would love to win here at home tonight, rolling from the 20th position.
Well, Phil, there's a Western theme that's been started, and anytime you have a Western theme, obviously you've got a good guy and a bad guy. I would say playing the role of John Wayne tonight would be Rick Crawford. He'd be your good guy. Playing the role of Jesse James, our bad guy, he's already got the black hat. I think it's got to be Kyle Busch.
Without a doubt, and he perpetuates that little thing he's got going there. But what a terrific season he's had so far. We've got to keep an eye on those 2 trucks right there, the 51 and the 22.
Justin Marks brings the field to the green flag. We're underway at Texas.
John down to 0.
Wasting no time trying to make his way towards the front. Awfully fast truck in practice. You see him on the outside line racing Skinner.
2 and 3 wide for lap number 1. It's going to be Justin Marks who crosses the start-finish line, leading lap number 1. There's 5 bonus points. Take a look at that 51 of Kyle Busch. He's right on the back bumper of Brian Scott in the number 16.
Kyle Busch is always fun to watch. Tonight will be no exception. You see Ron Hornaday has already taken over the lead from Justin Marks, and Mike Skinner is trying to go with him.
Ron Hornaday just in front of Mike Skinner. They go through the quad oval here.
John Wood has a good run going early on. Great qualifying effort. He's in the 4th spot. Todd Bodine looks to the outside of him, trying to take over 4th.
Justin Marks has dropped back to the 3rd spot. Ron Hornaday takes over the point. There we see John Wood just in front of Todd Bodine. John Wood trying to get by Justin Marks. Now, what do you say to a young driver like Justin Marks who starts up front in such a very high-speed racetrack?
Just find where that truck's comfortable. If that's 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 8th, 10th, just get where that truck's comfortable. We'll make some adjustments on the pit stop if it's not to your liking. We got to get to the finish.
167 laps here, 250.5 miles is the scheduled distance, and Ron Hornaday again is up front. Take a look at how Hornaday grabbed that spot. It looked like Justin wiggled a bit up front.
He wiggled a little bit, but then the spotter also told him that Ron Hornaday is looking to the inside. He did not want to cut him off. Again, Dennis Setzer way high on the racetrack.
I think it looks like a flat tire. Maybe a right rear's gone down or something. He's wiggling around quite a bit. Looks like they're all up, though.
Yeah, Dennis might have got up high in the loose stuff there a little bit. Go way high. That's where all the debris collects up on the high side of the racetrack. Right now, he looks like he's getting back up to speed.
And you know what? We're going to see trucks up there, and notably, Brendan Gaughan will run right along the wall up here, but it's going to take a while for that groove to move up that high.
It is. The trucks will just gradually move that groove up to the high side.
Take a look again at what happened.
He got real loose is what happened. Then now he's just trying to corral it. That's when he's in the loose stuff up there. You see that truck getting sideways up for him, but he's back up to speed now.
Dennis Setzer, two-time winner at Texas Motor Speedway, so he's trying to get his saddle cinched up in that number 18.
And a winner earlier this year at Martinsville.
Again, up in front of this field, it's the 33 of Ron Hornaday. Ray Dunlap.
Rick, you remember when we got down to the final race last year at Homestead, we talked about how important bonus points are in this series, and Mike Skinner had done such a good job last year of collecting all those bonus points. Well, this year, the bonus points are all going to the 33. How about this? Tonight is race number 9 of the season, and Ron Hornaday has led every single one of them.
That's much of what we saw last year with Mike Skinner. He led out of the first 20-some races or something like that last year to set an all-time record.
Justin Marks has dropped back just a bit. He's currently scored in the 5th spot. Ron Hornaday out in front of Mike Skinner, Todd Bodine, John Wood made his way up to 4th. Justin Marks to 5th.
There's that 51 truck right there racing outside of Johnny Benson in the 23. Kyle has made his way all the way up to the 20th spot right now, trying to take over 19th from Johnny Benson.
Again, you see on there, he started 17th. That's where the truck was qualified, but because of the driver change, he had to go to the back. He also wasn't here for the driver meeting because he was qualifying in Pocono.
He was a little bit busy.
Adam Alexander.
And he's wasted no time jumping on the radio talking about Kyle Busch. The word to his crew chief, Richie Waters, I've got to get the splitter in the racetrack. So he wants the nose of that truck down more, but so far the progress has been good. You saw him go around Johnny Benson, and 3 more victims right in front of Rowdy.
Kyle Busch, obviously the man on the move, wearing the black hat tonight here in Texas Motor Speedway as he tries to get by Johnny Benson. Those two have been running door to door for a little over a lap now. Still trying to fight out that battle. Just in front of them, they've got a few trucks that are probably going to slow their pace just a bit. One of those being that 09.
Remember, Kyle hadn't been in this truck. J.R. Norris actually practiced and qualified this truck. I talked to the crew chief, Richie Waters. As you see Todd Bodine racing with Mike Skinner, that's a battle for the 2nd position. And Richie said they really essentially left their truck like it was last year. JR did some practicing and everything. You see Todd Bodine taking over that 2nd spot from Mike Skinner.
So Bodine moves up behind the 33 of Hornaday, but Skinner not giving up as he's running that little bit higher line here around the 1.5 miles. Now he decides to tuck in behind the 30. And again, that's where the wind is, right behind them as they come out of 2 and into 3. Anywhere from 20 to 25 miles an hour, pretty consistent. And then there's been gusts upwards of 40 miles an hour.
Yeah, again, all the drivers, as we spoke earlier, were talking about how that was really blowing the trucks around. Todd Bodine was telling me going down the front straightaway that the truck, it was like you were behind a big tractor trailer on the interstate. You know how that dirty air is so turbulent, and it was doing that to his truck yesterday in practice.
Amazing, going 180 miles an hour around this racetrack. I don't think I'd want to be buffeting around on this racetrack. Justin Marks now has dropped back to the 5th place, holding on to 5th now as he started on the pole. Ray Dunlap, what are they talking about on the radio?
Well, 2 things, Rick. He's talking about the wind, just as you guys were referencing. He said whenever he comes off of turn 4, his engine loses 275 RPMs. There's a big gust when they start heading down the front straightaway. And the other thing he said is that he's very free off of the corners, so they're going to have to make a air pressure adjustment to try to get that thing tightened up for the pole sitter. Adam?
And the guy going by him right now, Rick Crawford, started 5th, but now his move to 6th after rolling back to the 7th position. Crawford has been quiet on the radio, and I want to touch on something that the point leader said into what you referred to earlier in the race, Ray, and that would be when I asked Rick about being the point leader earlier this weekend, he said, who cares? And then he pointed to the guy parked beside him in the garage talking about Hornaday. He said, that's the guy to beat because he's got all the bonus points. I've only got 5. I need to get to the front and lead the most laps, win practice, and win poles. That's how you win a championship.
See, Mike Skinner's taken back over the 2nd position, and he brought the 2 of Jack Sprague with him.
A lot of changes taking place up front, but one guy they're still all chasing, and that's Ron Hornaday. Out in front of the field through 14 laps. It's Mike Skinner, Jack Sprague, Todd Bodine, John Wood rounding out our top 5. Craftsman truck fans, Speed and Michigan International Speedway are teaming up to bring you an experience like no other. Get an all-access pass to the garage and see your favorite drivers from the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series on June 13th. Now, space is limited, so go to mispeedway.com now to find out how to be a part of the Speed Be There garage experience in MIS. Phil, I'm telling you, that is one of the greatest experiences, is being able to be in the garage right there next to the trucks and all the drivers. It really is, and I mean, I've been there my whole life, and there's no place I would rather be. Right. But every time I've taken somebody in that garage that has never been there before, you know, they are amazed. Speaking of amazing, Ron Hornaday. Right now, he is the amazing truck on this racetrack, as he has put almost a 3-second lead between he and Mike Skinner on this racetrack. And Skinner's got Jack Sprague behind him, Todd Bodine and Rick Crawford are your top 5. I was talking to Andy Houston, one of our first-time winners back a decade ago, yep, 3 in a row. And Andy works for Kevin Harvick and spots for Jack Sprague, and he said their 2 trucks were the best 2 trucks in practice. They really felt like they had a good cushion on the field. Now that's not taking this 51 truck into consideration because he wasn't here. Right. Kyle Busch again. He officially started 17th, had to drop to the back because of the driver change and not making it to the drivers meeting. So he started about 35th, and now he's moved all the way up to the 20th spot. But we've seen Kyle Busch move all the way around racetracks, go on the apron, he's driven up by the wall to pass trucks, and it doesn't seem like he's moving as fast to the front as I would have expected. Well, we talked earlier, we got a report from the pits that said he needed some adjustments, and you know, they're very quick to make some adjustments. And this is a relatively long race. There's our battle for second right there. Mike Skinner lapping the 63 truck of P.J. Jones. That opens up the bottom of the racetrack. Here comes Jack Sprague trying to take over second. But Kyle Busch and Richie Waters will get together, make some adjustments, and that 51 truck will be faster. Close call there. Little contact, actually. Jack Sprague moved up the racetrack. Mike Skinner came down, obviously fighting for the same territory. Only one truck can hang on to it, and so they continue side by side around this racetrack. And what a couple great veterans in this series. Yeah, 2 former champions, 3-time champion Jack Sprague in that 2 truck. Mike Skinner, our inaugural champion back in 1995. Let's take a look at what the Lumber Liquidators camera saw. The pass for 4th on the right side of your screen. Rick Crawford's going to be moving up here as Crawford continues to move up around the racetrack. Take a look at this move by Rick. Yeah, that's a battle for 4th. Ooh, awfully close call there. Looked like Rick may have lost the front end a little bit coming off that corner. I'm sure that was a little bit closer than he would have wanted. Now, is this not just what we saw a minute ago with Sprague on the bottom of the racetrack and Skinner up high? We sure did, and Sprague makes that, or actually Skinner makes that pass. Sprague drops back the position, so Skinner back into second, Sprague back to 3rd. He used up a little real estate like Rick Crawford did passing Top O'Nine. And look at this, Jack Sprague back to the bottom of the racetrack. Again, Skinner keeps his momentum up as he'll come out of turn number 2, and so Sprague will have to tuck back in behind him, maybe get a little bit of a draft. And obviously that wind blowing from the turn 2 to turn 3 behind him. There's Scott Speed in the 22. He's also doing double duty this weekend. For him, though, it is the Craftsman Truck Series and the ARCA REMAX Series, which will be run tomorrow at noon. And he'll be there. Yeah, and remember, right, this guy has never seen this racetrack before. And here he is already making a move on Mark Mitchell, going to move it up into the 22nd position. He's on the pole for that ARCA REMAX race tomorrow night. We will see that right on Speed here about 10 o'clock.
But right now he's got his hands full with this Red Bull Toyota trying to make his way to the front like Kyle Busch is.
I'll tell you what, one guy who it looks like he's on a Sunday drive here on Friday is the 33 of Ron Hornaday. Now almost 5 seconds between he and second place Mike Skinner. Again, Skinner and Sprague have been battling for that second spot, and that's a great sign for Ron Hornaday as he begins to check out on the field. Texas Motor Speedway is the side of the Samstown 400. Hornaday leading. Texas Stadium's the site of a pretty good little tour for Colin Brown. He's an Ovalo, Texas native. And at 19 years old, what 19-year-old wouldn't dream of being able to go out on the turf and maybe run a pattern, catch a pass, and oh, well, we're going to have to work on maybe catching the passes. There's the catch. And
in the end zone.
Well, he didn't celebrate at all either. We need to work on that celebration dance.
Well, you know, he needs a little work. He's a young guy. He'll figure it out. Caution's on the racetrack.
First caution of the night comes out here on lap 34 of our 167 scheduled.
Ron Hornaday right now has led just about since the very beginning of this race.
Justin Marks led the first lap, and then after that, it's been all Ron Hornaday. He had built up almost a 5-second lead, but then it was Jack Sprague who was eating away at that lead. It was down to about 3 seconds, and so Sprague was on the move, his teammate catching up to him. We're hearing that debris is the reason for this caution, and so that's what slows down the field for the first time tonight at Texas.
Yeah, we've run long enough now. They will complete 34 laps this time. I think that will bring all these trucks onto pit road as soon as pit road opens.
We're seeing the teams getting ready. The tires are up on the wall. The over-the-wall crews are ready for the field to come onto pit road. We'll see if it's open this time by. It looks as though it is, and so here comes Ron Hornaday leading the field onto pit road for their first round of pit stops and all the changes that need to be made. Adam Alexander.
And let's start with Jack Sprague, his teammate, who is riding in the second position. 4 tires and fuel for Sprague. His crew chief Ernie Cope said slight air pressure adjustment to help the truck. It is tight. Center off. Ray Dunlap.
Ron Hornaday brings his Camping Road Chevrolet in. They're going to go down 1 pound on all 4 tires. Ron Hornaday really hasn't said too much on the radio so far tonight, but Mike Skinner talking about being tight in 3 and 4, so they're going to make adjustments also on his Toyota Tundra. Good stop for the 33. Looks like he'll be the first one off of pit road.
Just barely going to beat his teammate Jack Sprague out. Had to pull in front of him and slow Jack down a little bit.
And they were running 1 and 2. You see the race off pit road in the lower left corner of your screen. John Wood moves up a spot. Todd Bodine backs 1 up. Colin Brown 3 spots up. Johnny Benson 4 spots up, and it looks as though we got some problems with Kyle Busch.
That may be some adjustments. You see with them with a wedge wrench right there. They may have lowered that truck. He talked about needing to get that truck down a little bit, get the splitter down towards the racetrack, Adam.
Well, and that's exactly right. When I talked to Richie Waters earlier today, one of the things he mentioned to me, Phil, is adjustability. He said, we just don't know exactly how Kyle's going to react to this race truck. So they felt like if they had a little bit more adjustability in this truck, they could make some changes early to get it where he likes. He complained about it on that first run of the day. That was very much planned, to make some major chassis adjustments, and still plenty of time, more than 130 laps left in this race, so he can make his way back to the front.
A long road for Kyle Busch, all the way from Pocono, Pennsylvania to Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas.
Back at the Texas Motor Speedway, and while we were away, Kyle Busch came back down pit road. One reason, no major things to lose on racetrack, because he didn't have much track position anyway because of the adjustments they made. But at lap 36, they came back down the pit lane to put in fuel and also put a hood pin on that was not made when they made those adjustments moments ago. So Kyle Busch rejoins the field, and when we go back green, he'll start in the 28th position, guys.
Yeah, a long enough race, Adam, that he's going to be able to work back up toward the front. The Aaron's lucky dog goes to Chad Chaffin in the number 40, so he grabs a lap back.
Yeah, it's so important for Kyle Busch and Richie Waters to get that truck where Kyle can drive it. That's the important thing. Again, 167 laps. We have over 130 laps to go. Plenty of time.
Green flag back in the air. It's still out front. It's Ron Hornaday in that number 33. Right behind him is teammate, the number 2, then Mike Skinner. Rick Crawford and John Wood are your top 5.
As you mentioned, Jack Sprague was running his teammate Ron Hornaday down before the caution flag came out. He's got him in his sights right now. Let's see what he can do with him.
Ron Hornaday had put about 5 seconds between himself and Skinner, and then as Jack Sprague was able to get by Skinner, he was able to close the gap, and now Sprague all over that back bumper of the 33, and Skinner now trying the high line here at Texas.
Yeah, Skinner goes to the high side. You see Kyle Busch right there making passes. That's the 16 of Brian Scott. There's Shelby Howard in the 13. There's the 7 of TJ Bell. Looks like Kyle's liking his adjustments right now.
A little bit better. He looks as though he's moving up just a bit quicker as he's not having any problems going through some of these slower trucks at the back of the pack. Already made his way up past the 22nd truck, which was Shelby Howard. Now moving into the 22nd position, looking for 21st.
Sprague not able to quite stay with Hornaday right now. He's losing a few truck lengths. There's the 9 of Justin Marks, our pole sitter. Justin's being shown in the 8th position right there. There's Eric Darnell, the 99. One of his teammates, the 09 of Bobby East, having a good run so far.
Justin Martin way up on the racetrack now, almost into those marbles that we talk about that move up the track. And so it's actually pretty good, though, that we're still seeing him running comfortably in the top 10.
Yeah, he's doing a nice job here. Again, he just wants to get to the finish. Rookie driver just wants to get some laps in. If he can grab a top 10 finish, that would be terrific.
Colin Brown right now making it 3 wide. Oh, sticks the nose in there, and that gets Justin Marks just a little bit loose.
Remember, Colin Brown had a great finish at Kansas a few weeks ago, had a 3rd place run, but had a couple people that were mad at him after that race. One of those is that 88 truck right behind him, Matt Craftsman. Colin got in the back of Matt inadvertently and turned Matt around into the wall, and then he and Jack Sprague got into a little bit of a conflict at the start-finish line, but Colin's doing a terrific job here for a rookie driver.
Field spreading out just a bit. You see 2 and 3 wide racing continuing, though. Scott Speed's on the inside of Mark Mitchell. That's the 22 and the 15 running door-to-door.
Kyle Busch just trying to find somewhere to go. He's going to move to the outside of the 8 of Chad McCumbee right now. He's right behind Eric Almirola. Eric's running a limited schedule in the Sprint Cup Series. Had a top 10 run earlier this year at Bristol. Nice job by Eric.
So Chad McCumbee hugging that white line as they work through 3 and 4. Just in front of him is the 51 of Kyle Busch. Our villain, as you would say, for our Western this evening.
There's Todd Bodine's Lumber Liquidators onboard camera. There's John Wood, the AirForce.com Ford F-150. The 21 right in front of him. That is a battle for the 5th position right there.
Top 5 spreading out now as the 30 of Todd Bodine is on the outside of that top 5, running in the 6th spot. Right.
Well, Rick, you notice we saw that on the chart that Todd Bodine has lost a couple positions on that last round of pit stops. The reason was very simple. He pulled all the way forward in his pit stall, and then when he was right there, he got blocked in just as they were ready to go. You see the service getting done. Todd Bodine gets ready to go, but he doesn't have enough room to get out in front of the 99. They get all the fuel in, they get the tires ready to go. Todd gets ready to leave, but he has to back up so that he can get around that outside corner of the 99, and that's why he lost a couple of spots there. Now, Phil, I've got a question for you. From a crew chief side, Todd has said on the radio that he feels like he has too much left front camber. That's obviously not something you can adjust on a pit stop, so what do you do to try to make that driver happy?
You have to go to a different corner of the truck, Ray. As you mentioned, you cannot adjust the camber on these vehicles. That's something that you have to do in the garage, so they will have to go to another corner. Another corner. That's somebody in the garage right there.
That bad, we'll be able to see it. Just pull all 8 plugs out of it.
Right now, Todd just outside the top 5. In the top 5 right now. Only our 2nd place truck of Jack Sprague has won here before.
Take a look at this. Battle for the lead. Jack Sprague looking to the inside of Ron Hornaday.
That's the guy that's won here before. We got to make sure this is not a prearranged deal to allow Jack to get the lead, to get those 5 points.
I don't know if these guys would do it. Well, I guess teammates would probably try to do something prearranged, but Ron Hornaday's not giving him any room as they battle back through the quad oval.
He may give him a lead, but it wasn't that lap.
He didn't give it away there, and so Jack Sprague still battling on the inside of the racetrack. Ron Hornaday staying right with him on the outside.
Great side-by-side battle. Jack's going to move up the hill a little bit, take over that spot, probably give Ron Hornaday a wave. I was talking to the owner, Kevin Harvick, of these trucks just this week, and he said, I really am amazed how well Jack Sprague and Ron Hornaday are working together. That's really what's made this team so strong. Remember, they had a 1-2 finish early this year at Kansas, and they had a second and a third place finish at Dover last weekend.
So another leader in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series here at Texas Motor Speedway. It's going to be Jack Sprague that leads a lap and gains 5 bonus points. Ron Hornaday's led, Justin Marks has led, and now adding his name to that list, Jack Sprague in front of the field. June 14th, NASCAR's toughest roar into Michigan International Speedway for an intense afternoon of fender-bending action. Live coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series from Michigan begins June 14th at 2:30 p.m. Eastern. NASCAR on speed. Be there under the lights here at Texas Motor Speedway. This is for the lead. Ron Hornaday looking to the inside of Jack Sprague.
Look at Ron Hornaday right down on the bottom of the racetrack. Great side-by-side battle between teammates. I know Kevin Harvick right now is in Pocono saying, why are these two guys running side-by-side for the lead?
Kevin and Delana are probably sitting there right now in the motor coach going, would somebody please call them and tell them not to run side-by-side? Nose to tail is fine, side-by-side, no.
While we were on commercial break, Johnny Benson took over that 4th spot from top 09. You see him right there, actually the 5th position. There's Johnny on the inside of top 09. Remember, Johnny had a great pit stop, moved up several positions on that pit stop in his Toyota. Going to take over that 5th spot from top 09.
We're seeing a little more side-by-side battling here at Texas, and that's a great thing. Obviously, we've had a great battle for the lead. It's been between teammates. One of the guys that we've been expecting to make the move up toward the front has been that 51 of Kyle Busch, and he's starting to get a little bit closer.
Guess what? He's up in the top 10 right now, Adam, in 9th.
It's amazing because he restarted 28th at lap 37, and here we are less than 20 laps later, and he's in the top 10. And get this, guys, still not satisfied with the truck. This guy is a perfectionist. He's already been on the radio talking about changes on the next stop. But the good news is now they've got some track position to work with. Kyle Busch on the move, and so are the guys up front. Ron Hornaday back in front of Jack Sprague.
You know, I tell you what, they talk about adjustments, but that track position's all going to be gone if he makes major adjustments again. If they lift the hood one more time, he loses all the track position he gained.
Well, he does, but he still has time. Remember, this is one of the longest races we have in the Craftsman Truck Series, so there is plenty of time.
250.5 miles. The 14 of Rick Crawford started 5th. He's moving up.
Yeah, he moved by Mike Skinner just a few moments ago. Let's see if we can take a look at how Rick Crawford took over that 3rd spot. There he is going on the outside of Mike Skinner. Remember, a very racy racetrack. You see Rick making that outside move on Mike Skinner to take over 3rd.
Rick Crawford has never won at Texas Motor Speedway, even though his owner, Mr. Mitchell, is based here in Texas. And Crawford wanting nothing more than to win right here in Texas. Adam?
And you know what? You're exactly right, Rick. He wants to win here tonight. And I asked him about practice. And he said, you know what? Things went really well here on Thursday afternoon. I was very satisfied. I said, has that been the norm in 2008? He said, absolutely not. This is only the 2nd or 3rd time this year that I came away from practice feeling really good about my race truck. And I want to go out and win tonight. I don't want to settle for a top 10. There are weeks when you're competing for a championship where you take what the truck will give you. Tonight's a night where we feel like we can go out and win the race, and so far he appears in line to do just that.
Johnny Benson right there going to take over the 4th position from his teammate Mike Skinner. Johnny's got a great run going here. Johnny's another guy that's never won here at this racetrack in the Craftsman Truck Series.
Johnny's best finish at this racetrack 2nd. He's done it twice. The most recent was back in 2005.
Scott Speed continues to impress. What a terrific job last week. We saw the video of him winning at Dover. He's already up into the top 15, running 14th. Remember, this cat never saw this racetrack till he got here with Kyle Busch from Pocono.
Very amazing, and obviously he's got a tough weekend in store for him as well. Immediately after this race, he'll fly right back to Pocono to get ready for that race tomorrow afternoon. So double duty for Scott Speed, and one thing on these two's mind, and that is to be the first one to the checkered flag. Ron Hornaday back in front of the field. He continues to add to his laps led column. Jack Sprague giving chase.
And our second caution of the night at Texas has the leaders on pit road. 4 tires, fuel, air pressure. The changes for second place Jack Sprague. 4 tires, fuel, track bar for Rick Crawford. Both tight on the racetrack. To Ray Dunlap.
A half a pound of air pressure out of the Camping World Chevrolet. That's going to be Ron Hornaday's adjustment. He comes in running first, but he's going to go out about 4th. A number of guys going for fuel only.
See, Johnny Benson wins the battle off pit road. Bobby East gains 6 spots. Comes off pit road in the 2nd spot.
Hornaday, Sprague, Crawford, Skinner all dropping positions, as does John Wood. Our Aaron's lucky dog going to the number 4 of Stacy Compton. So Stacy Compton gets a lap back, so he'll be on the lead lap. That makes it 27 trucks on the lead lap. The reason for our caution is the 46 of Eric Almirola. He gets turned around coming off of turn 2.
Yeah, Eric was running in the 17th spot when this happened. You see him just about keeps it out of the inside wall. Then the truck gets turned around again, makes slight contact with the left front and the left rear.
It's a little bit of damage to the splitter there on the left front of that truck. They'll make adjustments and get him back out onto the racetrack.
Coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series on Speed is brought to you by Craftsman. Craftsman tools are the official tools of NASCAR. Craftsman at Sears. By Sitgard Sindurance heavy-duty engine oil and overdrive grease. Sitco lubricants, there at every turn. And by Aaron Sales and Lease Ownership. Nobody beats Aaron's, nobody.
And so the wind seems to be dying down just a bit, but the racing seems to be heating up here at Texas Motor Speedway. Sam's Town 400 continuing around this 1.5-mile speedway.
We have somebody leading right now other than Ron Hornaday or Jack Sprague, so it's going to be interesting to see what those two guys can do with Johnny Benson and Bobby East.
Johnny Benson out in front of the field. Bobby East running second now. As Johnny Benson gets back into the gas, the green flag flies, and they stay nose to tail in that outside line.
Hornaday's looking real high, going to try to make it 3 wide possibly.
Now out of turn number 2, down the backstretch. Again, your top 5 still running right up against the wall as they enter turn 2 or 3.
That's the 18, that black truck. That's Dennis Setzer. Dennis is being shown a lap down. He wants to remain up front there to try to be the first truck 1 lap down in the event the caution flag were to come out.
Bobby East just in front of Ron Hornaday, but he's pinched in there just a bit. As Hornaday's trying to get by Bobby East, but not enough room. We see the 51 of Kyle Busch running that higher line, but not closing as quickly as what we were expecting to see him move toward the front.
Yeah, there's Todd Bodine, the Lumber Liquidators on board. Looked like the 88 of Matt Crafton was able to pass Todd, then Todd battled back on the outside, but here's Kyle Busch, then Mikasuki Toyota on the inside now, trying to take over that 9th position.
Trying to take it away from Todd Bodine. They're side by side. John Wood on the inside of the 21. Now he's moved up the racetrack. The 6 of Colin Brown down there on the white line as Mike Skinner and Matt Crafton both run that high line. Skinner in the number 5, Crafton in the 88. Now Todd Bodine looking to the bottom. 99 of Eric Darnell on the inside. Chad McCumbee in the middle and Justin Marks on the outside. 3 wide going into turn 3.
Yeah, Justin Marks hanging in there pretty well on the high side. You don't want to stay 3 wide all the way around this racetrack if you can help it.
Not bad though. Justin Marks able to keep his speed up as he was running that very high line around this racetrack. And I say very high. Obviously, Brendan Gaughan will set new standards of very high here as we get a little closer to the halfway point of this race.
Justin Marks going to battle down on the inside of the lap truck of PJ Jones. Just a few moments ago, look at right of your screen. See Justin go way, way high, right, almost up against the wall. And then they're 4 wide for a moment. Ted Musgrave going by on the inside of the Team ASC Toyota.
David Starr right behind this, taking a view of that with the 11. We see Johnny Benson has his hands full now with Ron Hornaday behind him in the 33.
Yeah, Johnny gained the lead by doing fuel only on this last pit stop. We saw Ron Hornaday take 4 tires. That should be the second set that Ron Hornaday has put on his truck. He may only have 1 more set in the pits, where Johnny more than likely has 2 sets of tires in the pits.
So Johnny Benson thinking that track position a little bit more important right now, so he wanted to be out in clean air.
And to save the tires, just in case he needs a fresh set of tires with maybe 25 laps to go.
Ron Hornaday peeking to the inside of that 23. There's some side-by-side racing. Skinner on the inside. The 14 of Rick Crawford drops back a spot, and look who's coming. That 51 of Kyle Busch, but he's got to get by the 5 of Skinner, Ray.
Yeah, the 14, Ray.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting is listening to the adjustments that these guys make. You know, Phil Howsett as driver, you just say, I want to do something, and then you say, well, I want to take it right back out. We got a battle for the lead. Here goes Hornaday. Hornaday going by the 23 of Johnny Benson. Hornaday, as I told you earlier, took a ½ a pound out of the left sides on that particular stop. But Phil, what I find interesting, like on the 5, they went down on the track bar on the very first stop, and Mike Skinner said, I really didn't like it that much. So Jeff Hensley put it back up 1 round, and that put them right back to where they started. Kind of the same story, really, whenever you're talking about the 30 for Todd Bodine. They made an adjustment earlier that he didn't like, so this last time they put a rubber in the left rear. But these guys thinking they want to do something, finding out they don't like it, and then you got to make another adjustment to try to get back to where you started.
Yeah, Ray, you got to remember, these guys did all their practicing during the heat of the day, under the sunshine, with the wind blowing up to 40 and 50 miles an hour. So you see a great battle right in front of Todd Bodine. That's Scott Speed on the inside, Colin Brown on the outside. But a real challenge for these crew chiefs and these drivers to try to get the right setup for this race at night when they practice during the day.
Again, as you mentioned, a very long race for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, over 250 miles. A lot of room for adjustment, a lot of time for adjustment. As again, we're closing in on that halfway point of this race. Again, we've only had 2 cautions that have slowed the pace of this race. Out in front, it's been Ron Hornaday that's been dominant. Johnny Benson has been leading, and he has dropped back into the 3rd spot now. Jack Sprague's led 7 laps. Ryan Lawler was up there. He stayed out at one point in time when they came onto pit road, and Justin Marks led the 1st lap here at the racetrack. Adam Alexander, what's going on with Scott Speed?
Well, let's talk a little bit about the guy who won last week. He started dead last here today because he had never seen this racetrack and therefore had not practiced the truck yesterday. But he's worked his way through the field into the top 10, a pair of 4-tire stops for the young driver out of California. And what's interesting about this race team is his crew chief, Doug Walcott, has had 6 different drivers behind the wheel of this truck dating back to the start of the 2007 season. They will make it 7 at Milwaukee. That's when Bill Davis Racing development driver Michael Annette will get behind the wheel for his Truck Series debut. And you know what? He's the guy that practiced and set up this truck here yesterday. So this is a race team that has had a revolving door as far as drivers. Doug Walcott, the crew chief, has done a great job of handling them. And here is Scott Speed in the top 10 once again.
Yeah, Adam, he's taken over the 9th position from Rick Crawford right there. Going to bring Todd Bodine with him. Nice job early on in this race for Scott Speed. Kyle Busch right now has moved up into the 6th position. He got by Mike Skinner a few laps ago. There's Ron Hornaday. He's our leader. There's our 2nd place truck right there. Jack Sprague. These guys have a little bit over a 2.5 lead right now on that 3rd place truck of Johnny Benson. Here comes Kyle Busch. Kyle up to the 6th spot right now, about 4.5 seconds behind our leader, Ron Hornaday.
And up front, it's Ron Hornaday, and he's got his hands full with Jack Sprague right now. Those 2 continue to battle for the lead. They just happen to be teammates. So it's Ron Hornaday in front of his teammate, Jack Sprague, battling at the front of the field.
Looking for a way to get involved? Help me make a difference by becoming a member of the NASCAR Foundation Volunteer Network. Visit NASCAR.com/foundation to learn how.
Welcome back, Samstown 400, and no, you haven't missed a beat. Ron Hornaday still in front of Jack Sprague here at Texas Motor Speedway. The gap a little bit wider now between the 2 trucks. Hornaday starting to put a little bit of a cushion between he and Jack Sprague, although those 2 have pulled away from the rest of the field.
Yeah, those 2 guys are having a good time racing amongst themselves.
And they've done this before already this season.
They've got almost a 3-second lead right now on the third place truck of Johnny Benson. But remember, Johnny got fuel only. Both these two trucks got 4 tires on their last pit stop. There's a good battle. There's Mark Mitchell, that 15 truck. He's joined this battle. Ted Musgrave, the 59. There's Rick Crawford, the 14 truck. That's a battle for about the 13th position right there.
You know, you remember the last time we were on a 1.5-mile racetrack? What happened?
Yeah, they finished 1-2.
Exactly what they're doing right now. Ray Dunlap.
And Rick, just to add to that, these are the exact same 2 trucks that Ron Hornaday and Jack Sprague had that day at Kansas, as you're referring back to when they went 1-2 that day. And of course, these two, throughout the course of the years from 1995 all the way forward in this series, so many times we saw a battle with Hornaday and Sprague coming right down to the very last couple of laps, but the exact same 2 chassis that they had at Kansas City when they ran 1-2. Adam?
And the driver who finished 9th at Kansas, Rick Crawford, and he felt very good about his chances here today. Top 5 prior to those last pit stops, a little bit tight, so they made a chassis adjustment, and now this thing has gone way loose. Crawford has dropped from the top 5 back to 14th and trying to run down Ted Musgrave and close into the top 10. And he did take 4 tires on that stop, guys, so a tough situation for Crawford.
Again, a lot of time. We've talked about it before. 167 laps. We have 81 laps to go. There's another battle for the lead. Jack Sprague looks to the bottom of Ron Hornaday.
And teammates battling for the top spot as Hornaday's on the outside, Jack Sprague on the inside. Nervous moments right now for
Kevin and Delana,
team owners.
For sure.
Kevin and Delana.
As well as Rick Wren and Ernie Koch, the crew chiefs on these 2 trucks. And these guys are having a blast.
They're having a lot of fun here running around Texas Motor Speedway, just under 170 miles an hour.
Looks like Jack has the advantage right now. He's going to move up the racetrack, give Rounds a little bit of room, but Jack takes over the lead, but there is caution on the speedway.
Going to slow the field down one more time as we see a truck making its way all the way down to the bottom. Looks like Stacy Compton in that number 4 has had some issues.
Yeah, he has some damage. Or a flat tire. Looks like maybe the left rear tire might be down on Stacy Compton's truck.
So lap 88 is the lap for our 3rd caution of the night, and he puts the window net down. That's not a good sign for Stacy Compton.
No, that looks like it may be terminal for Stacy Compton. Let's see if we can take a look back at what happened to Stacy. Look right here. Ooh, it's an engine problem. Stacy's going to chase it all the way up the hill, gets the engine shut off. That's why the smoke goes away, and it's going to bring it right down pit road, right back into the garage area. Tough break for Stacy Compton.
So a short night for Stacy Compton here in the Fort Worth, Texas area. And whenever a caution comes out, obviously bad news for one person, good news for another. Eric Almirola gets a lap back. He will be the recipient of the Aaron's Lucky Dog.
Eric's done a nice job of staying on the racetrack and staying in contention to get that lap back after that earlier spin. Leaders on pit road.
Adam Alexander.
And the man who will lead him down will be Jack Sprague. They came on the radio and asked spotter Andy Houston, what's the 33 doing? That, of course, his teammate Ron Hornaday. And they said he will come down, so the call was made. Sprague to come down pit road, fuel only. The work is being done right now, Ray.
Well, they'd like to make an air pressure adjustment on Ron Hornaday's truck, but as Phil said, they don't have enough tires here. Only time for fuel. They're going to put just enough gas in it to get it full. Hornaday and Sprague are going to have a drag race. Looks like Sprague will be the first off pit road. Hornaday back to second.
Wow, look how close it is up front there as Justin Marks was trying to get into his stall.
He had to get in between the 09 of Bobby East and the 6 of Colin Brown. Big move by Matt Crafton. 7 spots gained on that pit stop. I'm sure he did fuel only.
Matt Crafton comes off of pit road in the 3rd spot. And so the race was won by Jack Sprague. He was able to get out in front of Ron Hornaday. When we restart, we'll see how they do here at Texas. Craftsman truck fans against Speed and Michigan International Speedway are teaming up to bring you the experience of a lifetime. You get an all-access pass to the garage and see your favorite drivers in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. That's on June 13th. Go to MISspeedway.com to find out how to be a part of this, Phil.
Yeah, the first 500 people that log on to MISspeedway.com and register will get all access garage passes at MIS. Terrific.
Unbelievable. You're going to have to take that opportunity up And we take a look at our race summary. After 90 of the 160 laps, Jack Sprague out in front. We've had 6 different people lead, 11 different lead changes.
I think we're going to go ahead and run 167 laps.
What did I say?
160.
We will go 167.
Hey, we may run more.
We could.
167
and we've done it before, haven't we, Ray?
Yes, Rick, we have done that. No doubt about it. Green, white checkers here at this racetrack, and not an uncommon thing for sure. The last 4 races that we've run right here, they've all finished in green, white checker configurations, and these crew chiefs are aware of that. That's part of the reason why a lot of people didn't take tires right now. They're saving them for later.
So Ray, it's safe to say that they're going to run more than 160 laps then, right?
Yeah, I'm working on the math down here.
We're throwing curveballs at Ray. I wasn't supposed to go down there. Green flag back out of the racetrack, and it is Jack Sprague in front of his teammate Ron Hornaday. Again, moving up on pit road, Matt Craftsman has moved all the way up to the 3rd spot, looking to get his 2nd win in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
Yeah, Matt's another one of the drivers that did fuel only that time. Remember Johnny Benson, who did fuel only on the last caution flag, will restart this race in the 13th position. Eric Darnell had to go way high.
Yeah, he
looks to be off the pace right now.
Slow on the racetrack is at 99 of Eric Darnell. Something wrong with that truck, and a battle for the lead. Here comes Ron Hornaday on the outside.
Ron Hornaday will take over the lead again from his teammate Jack Sprague. You would think these guys would wait till they put a little distance on the rest of the field before they started racing like that. There's John Wood, the Air Force Ford right there, the 21. There's Kyle in the 51 on the outside. That's a battle for the 6th spot, Ray.
Yeah, and they're going to put right side tires on. He has complaining about a real bad vibration, thought maybe that they may have a wheel loose, so they're going to throw rights on this Northern Tool and Equipment Ford and see if that's the problem. But he's definitely going to lose a lap here as the field comes down the front straightaway. They'll go by. The 99 will be at least 1 lap down.
3 wide battling for a moment there. You see Kyle Busch right now, the 15. 51's on the inside of the 5 of Mike Skinner. That's a battle for the 5th position. Skinner has the momentum up on the high side, but Kyle's battling back on the inside. Look in the right, top right of your screen. There's Eric Darnell rubbing with the 15 of Martin Mitchell. That may have, but he went high because of whatever situation that brought him to pit road, I think.
Right now on the left side of your screen, you see the 51 of Kyle Busch getting by that 5 of Mike Skinner. So Kyle Busch moving up ever so close to the front of this pack.
Kyle's now in the 5th position. Looks like Colin Brown, the 6th truck, is going to take over that 6th spot from Mike Skinner. And Mike has Todd Bodine right behind him.
Todd Bodine carrying the Lumber Liquidators onboard camera. We get a view of the 2nd line on the racetrack. The 1st line down right on the white line. That's the bottom line here, but Todd Bodine running a little bit higher on the track.
Remember, a lot of these guys right now did fuel only on this last pit stop. And really, fuel only with old tires is not a good combination. Most of these guys want to match the fuel to the tires. So you would want new tires when you're full of fuel. For a lot of these drivers here with fuel only that time, filling these things up is not really a good situation for the balance of these trucks.
And one of those guys who did fuel only was Matt Craftsman, right?
You know, it's interesting, Rick, listening to him on the radio tonight. He has said that for whatever reason, it seems much more difficult to pass trucks tonight here at Texas Motor Speedway than it normally does. And most of the guys down on my end are complaining about being really, really tight. Now, you see that truck that's tucked right up on the back of him, that 09 of Bobby East. On the 2 pit stops ago, they put right side tires only, and on the last pit stop on lap 88, they put lefts on. So using 1 set for 2 sets of pit stops, an interesting strategy from Chad Norris, the crew chief on Bobby East. These guys are sitting on 2 sets of stickers down here. That may be a big advantage towards the end of this race.
Well, and Phil, just to expound a little bit more on what you were talking about. The more fuel in the back of the truck obviously would make it a little more loose because of that weight that's back there, and then the more wear on those tires.
Yeah, exactly right. And again, that's not the combination that everybody wants, but all these guys are jockeying to make sure they have fresh tires for the end of the race. That's when it really counts. See right there, Kyle has actually lost that 5th position back to Mike Skinner. Mike's been able to get around him.
And Kyle does have a set of tires remaining. They went fuel only on this last stop, but the problem for Kyle lately has been aero tight. And when he gets in traffic, he really has a hard time turning that race truck, kind of following up on what Ray said, traffic has been a big problem for these guys here tonight, Kyle Busch included.
So the 25 on the lead lap. According to our scoring monitor, 2 laps down is the 18 of Dennis Setzer. We saw that black truck running back behind Kyle Busch just moments ago. Again, Johnny Benson, Mike Skinner, Todd Bodine, Rick Crawford all in the lead lap. We see Todd Bodine go way high as they're 3 wide going through that turn as they come back down on the backstretch.
Rick Crawford said, you guys are going to leave this bottom groove. I'm going to take it. Getting report that Eric Darnell is back on pit road. He ran over his air hose, so he will get a penalty, a pass-through penalty. Tough break for Eric Darnell. It's really the second tough break he's had since this restart.
You mentioned he ran over his air hose. That's why they black flagged him, brought him back down on pit road. So they're going to put another set of right side tires on there as we see these two running nose to tail once again. It's Ron Hornaday just in front of teammate Jack Sprague. They run 1-2 on the racetrack, and they run different lines around this racetrack. Hornaday down on the bottom, Sprague a lap or a lane up here at Texas Motor Speedway. And Ron Hornaday add his name to list of winners. This summer, comedian Alonzo Bowden takes you on an automotive adventure. Don't miss out on the experience and the fun of getting behind the wheel of 101 cars you must drive. New York Series Network Series premiere June 23rd. I was trying to think of the cars right there. What's your favorite car?
I had a Ferrari back several years ago. Marcia sold a trailer that we hadn't really counted on getting money for, so had a little bit extra money, and I bought a 83 308 Ferrari that like Tommy Magnum drove and Magnum PI. Yep. Yeah, exactly. That was a great car. How about yours?
66 Mustang. 66. First car I ever owned. Bought it for $125.
You know, we asked Mikey last week, and his was a Z28. Yep. So it's amazing the love affair we have with cars.
And right now, a couple guys that flew in from Pocono are running nose to tail. Kyle Busch and that 22 of Scott Speed. Scott Speed is going forward. Kyle Busch has actually been going backward.
He really is. There's Todd Bodine in front of that duo right there, and there's Rick Crawford behind him. So Scott Speed looks to the inside. See if he can make a move on that 51 truck. I don't think Kyle's going to be happy that he brought Scott with him on that airplane. If Scott goes by him, which he has.
Rick Crawford's going to try to get by that 51 next. Again, the Lumber Liquidators on board from Todd Bodine's perspective, looking through the rearview mirror at that 22. And again, Kyle Busch, normally one who would appreciate a loose race vehicle, looks like he might not have hit the setup on this truck.
Well, again, we're going to have at least one more pit stop. We last pitted on lap number 88, so that left us with about a little less than 80 laps to go, so we know we had to make at least one more pit stop. We've got 57 laps to go right now.
Pretty close to a fuel run. I mean, if a caution would come out now, they could stay out the remainder of this race if we would stay green.
Yeah, exactly. Most of the guys said around, somewhere between 55, 57 laps. It was on the outside of the window of making it. So anytime from just about now until the next 5 or 6 laps, and I think everybody would be in their window.
Right. Adam and Ray have documented on pit road that a few guys have got sticker tires left down there on pit road, so they will be ready for that final run here at Texas Motor Speedway. We see Matt Crafton just in front of Colin Brown. We talked earlier about guys who would like to make it their first time win. We got 2 guys running there with Colin Brown and Bobby East. Both have not won in this series, but looking for their first win.
Yeah, and Bobby East right there in that Zaxby's Ford, the yellow and red Ford. That's a career run for him right now. His 11th is his best career finish in the Craftsman Truck Series. Has a good solid top 5 going right now. He's in the 5th position. There's Bobby right there, going to run infrequently in this truck right here. He's going to share the ride with Travis Quapple, and John West Townley's also going to drive this truck, but he will be in it next week at Michigan, so he's going to get 2 in a row here. So good job so far by Bobby East.
Whoa, Colin Brown's going to lose it. He hangs on just long enough to slap the wall with the right side. They stay green though on the racetrack, so obviously a handful for Colin Brown there as he was trying to actually just make his way down the backstretch, and that thing got all over the racetrack.
It really did. Colin did a nice trouble. He just lost a tire.
Blew the right rear tire. We heard it blow as he went across the front stretch. And so that will bring out our 4th caution of the night. It's Colin Brown, and boy, did he have his hands full on the backstretch and then blew the right rear tire out when he came onto the quad oval.
Look at all the damage that blown tire did. Remember now, that tire was caused by contact into the outside wall. He did a real nice job not spinning that truck in the backstretch. He could have taken out his teammate, Bobby East. Let's see if we can take a look back at what happened. Watch, he's right in between Matt Craftsman and Bobby East. He's going to get a little bit loose coming off two. He chases the truck up the hill, just ran out of room, makes a little bit of contact, but that was enough to cut down that right rear tire. Now there's another view right there.
Yep, that's coming through two, and then he slaps the wall there, but that tire doesn't go away until he gets all the way to the quad oval.
Yeah, here he is right through this quad oval right here, right at the start finish line. That right rear tire explodes because it was going down. He lost the air. Colin did a nice job of not letting that truck get back up into the outside with trucks coming by. There's another view. Watch that tire shred right there. He does a nice job saving that truck initially, but no rear grip right there when that tire goes down.
Getting through the quad oval. Take a look right there. That tire explodes on him.
It's amazing how much damage that does.
It was an explosion. We heard it all the way up in the booth.
It is amazing how much damage that rubber does when it comes apart like that. There's Colin making his way down to Mike Beam and the guys. Pace truck is over in turn number 3 right now. They probably will just put right side tires on that truck and get them. No, they are going to go ahead and change 4 tires. They have time to change 4 tires. Remember, Colin right now is still on the lead lap. They've got the work done there. It will safely beat that Pace truck.
Beat to the start finish line. Adam.
And Jack Sprague, the leader, will come down. Ernie Cope, the crew chief, told him we are in our window to go the distance. 4 tires and fuel, no changes. And he reminded the crew, be smooth on the stop. You see the work being done on the right side. They will do left sides as well and make sure it is full of fuel. Ray Dunlap.
Matt Craftsman would like to be just a little bit freer through the center. He said he's still a bit tight. They're going to do that with air pressure on the right side. It'll be a 4-tire stop for the 88. Same thing for Hornaday. They're going with 4 tires, but on his truck they're going back to the very original air pressures the way they started this race. Hornaday is going to get out ahead of the number 2 of Jack Sprague. He'll be the first one off of pit road.
Those 2 guys have been racing all night. They've been racing on the racetrack. They've been racing on pit road. Look at Jason White there, 17 spots gained. Obviously that was a fuel only. Celebrated a birthday early this week, and Denny Hamlin took him out for his birthday.
That was awful nice of him.
Both of those drivers from the Richmond, Virginia area.
So Colin Brown bringing out our most recent caution. It was caution number 4, and you see the extensive damage to the right side of that truck. Again, it's Ron Hornaday out in front of the field here at Texas Motor Speedway. As my friend Chevy Chase used to say, this is crazy, this is crazy. It's crazy racing at the 1.5 miles.
You know, I was in my local Sears store the other day, and I actually found a tool that I didn't already have. The 3-in-1 Accurate Super Cutter. This thing has a multitude of different uses. Now be careful with the blade when you're taking it out of the package because it's very, very sharp. Now you'll notice the blade is on the top, the anvil is on the bottom. Now you can drop the anvil, pull it backwards, then shut the tool, and this makes a really nice utility blade. Say you want to cut up some cardboard or open up a box, you do it like that, and it's just that easy. Now, once you open the jaws back up, put the anvil back into position, and you're ready to cut all kinds of different things. Got some PVC pipe, cuts it just that easily. Got yourself some nylon rope you need to cut, working down at the dock, cuts it just like that, lickety-split. Now, if you need to cut some wire, what you want to do is go back here in the back where the bronze part is, put the wire all the way to the back, and it cuts wire just like that. 3 tools in one, it's super handy, and on the back, they give you this little extra storage case to put extra blades in case that one goes dull, so you'll never be at a loss for cutting. 3-in-1 tool, super duper cool. And of course, you gotta love the tools of the trade coming to you from Craftsman, and you gotta love the dedication of these guys that go over the wall. Now, we had a very close call down here in the 33 pits as Gary Labratone, who is the new front tire changer on the number 33 team, may have gotten run over by Ron Hornaday's truck. Oh, he was jumping around after that, and he hurt his right ankle, so they're going to take the shoe off of that ankle, get some ice on it, and we'll give you an update of whether or not they're going to need a replacement. We think that there may be a chance they'll pit one more time, and not sure Gary will be able to go over the wall.
And obviously you go from one extreme of emotion to the other. He was celebrating a good pit stop, and then all of a sudden he's got to elevate the ankle.
Yeah, and that pit stop got the lead for them too, but unfortunately Gary's going to be on the shelf here, it looks like.
Maybe you can talk to Paul Pierce. He knows how to recover quickly from an injury. We'll find out more when we come back to Texas Motor Speedway. Welcome back. Sam's Town 400 continues here from Fort Worth, Texas, and the Texas Motor Speedway. Again, it's Ron Hornaday out in front, Jack Sprague running second. Justin Marks was out in front of the field when this race started. Ray, what's happening with that team?
Well, he's not feeling very well at all right now, Rick. We're still got 89 degrees down here on the pit road, but inside his truck it's extremely hot. They think they have a broken header, and Justin Marks is very nauseous, said he at times feels like he's going to pass out. So they have Stacy Compton standing by ready to jump in that number 9 truck if they need to. They keep telling him over and over, do not hurt yourself and do not wreck this truck. So if you're feeling bad enough, get it to the pit road. We'll get you a different driver.
And Ray, that is so hard for a driver to do. He obviously has a great truck. He's still on the lead lap here. We've got about 50 laps to go, 49 now. He doesn't want to get out of that thing.
Again, Ron Hornaday in front of Jack Sprague, and Ron Hornaday, known as the master of restarts, not able to pull away from his teammate Jack Sprague. Smoke coming out of Jason White's right front.
He may have made some contact with somebody with the right front of that gunbrokers.com Dodge. There's Johnny Benson, moves to the inside of Bobby East. That takes over the 4th position.
You don't see that smoke anymore out of the 08 of Jason White. It was pretty hard when he went through 1 and 2. And again, Jason White moved up a lot of spots on pit road recently. And now we see Kyle Busch looking to the inside of that 22. Scott Speed going to lose a spot. And there's that 08 of Jason White into the wall.
Yeah, that tire did not last very long. It was obviously rubbing. We saw the smoke, and that's the worst possible scenario for Jason White. Tough break for Jason.
So lap 120. You're at Texas Motor Speedway, and the night over for Jason White, and that's 08 Dodge.
We can see Jason moving around. He hasn't taken the window net down yet, but a lot of damage to the right side of that Dodge. But you can see his helmet moving around, taking his gloves off, so appears to be okay.
See the caution lights down there in the track just behind the truck. One of the innovative technologies they use here at Texas Motor Speedway. Again, that safety crew working on getting Jason White out of the truck. He's the reason for our most recent caution, which is caution number 5.
Here's what happened. We saw the smoke the last time. Obviously gets down in turn number 1. The tire goes down. Pretty significant contact with a safer barrier for Jason White. There's another view right there. You see him. That's the smoke earlier. That's the lap before that. We see all that smoke. He obviously on that restart probably made some contact with one of the other trucks, and it lasted 1 lap till he got back to turn number 1. That tire went down. There's Jason right there out of that truck.
Gives a wave, letting everybody know. Not bad, I'm okay. Aaron's lucky dog goes to Dennis Setzer, so he'll grab 1 lap back, and he'll get a little closer to the front of this field. But it's Ron Hornaday and Jack Sprague leading in Texas. Welcome back. We want to give you a race summary as to what's taking place. The white hat there, Kyle Busch, playing a different role as he got off the helicopter from Pocono. Actually flew a jet from Pocono to Texas and then helicoptered in. Race starts, green flag out, but the first caution comes at lap 60 in this race.
Yeah, Justin Marks leads the first lap, then Ron Hornaday takes over. There's Eric Almirola right there in the 46 Morgan Dollar Chevrolet that makes contact with the inside wall.
It's actually the first one involving a vehicle. We had debris earlier on the track, and then the smoke rolling out from underneath the hood of the number 4 of Stacy Compton. That engine expires.
Here's lap number 112. You see Colin Brown gets a little bit loose coming off 2, makes contact with the outside wall, and then when he gets around to the front stretch, that right rear tire deflates very quickly, does a lot of damage to that Conway Ford.
And another tire issue taking place. We see again That 6 of Colin Brown sliding across there, but most recently it was the 08 of Jason White who had tire issues on lap 119.
Here's when we see the smoke tire obviously rubbing the right front fender, and then he goes the very next lap down in turn number 1. The truck never turns, gets into the outside wall.
After 122 laps, Ron Hornaday back in front. 7 different drivers, 16 different lead changes. A great crowd on hand to see the finish here at the Sam's Town 400. Welcome back, Sam's Town 400. Our 5th caution of the evening has come out, and it's Jason White that suffers the hardest hit of the night up to this point. Coming into turn number 1, the tire blowing, and into the wall he goes. Other guys that have suffered a little bit of hardship in the 33 team. Right.
Well, they're attending right now to Gary Labratone down here, as we saw when he was celebrating. He said he's going to be just fine. They put an ice bag on it, and then he went to stand up, put a little pressure on that right ankle, and found out that the damage may be much worse than he thought. So the Texas Motor Speedway medical staff is here. They're looking at him. Tim Sanders is ready to go in as a front tire changer. Gary Labratone definitely going to go to the medical center and get looked at. They're thinking maybe a little more damage than he had expected on that right ankle.
You got to show it again. He was the right front tire changer. He jumps and twists his ankle right there, goes down, limps back across the wall, and then obviously you sprain an ankle, or you can even tear something in there, and that is just extremely painful.
Yeah, that's Lindy Hornaday, Ron Hornaday's wife, that was down there with Gary, and
she's going to ride to the care center.
Yeah, she's going to ride with him to the care center.
She's been to Victory Lane enough times. She'll go to the care center and see how the team does. Or
yeah, we're not going to give him this win yet. He's got a teammate behind him.
Okay, that's true.
That's wanting to battle him every inch of the way here. Obviously, those trucks are very, very equal.
And 41 laps to go also.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we've got quite a bit of racing still to go. The lights are out on the pace truck. Randy Kaiser will make the hard left turn as he gets to pit road and leave the field back in the hands of Ron Hornaday. So it's Hornaday, Jack Sprague, Johnny Benson, 09 of Bobby East, 4th, and Matt Crafton in 5th. Ray Dunlap, what do you got going on?
Well, Rick, I wanted to ask Phil a question. I heard a number of these crew chiefs telling their drivers that we're not getting as much buildup and air pressure on the right front tire now, and I assume that is the nature of the fact that we're in complete shade right now and there's no sun on this racetrack. But a couple of these guys saying your truck may be handling a little bit differently on this last run, and a few guys going to make some air pressure changes if they do in fact pit one more time. But Phil, I just assume that's the nature of the Speedway and the difference in the heat.
I would think, and all these teams get the tire data, so they know what these tires will create maximum grip. And that's what they try to do. They try to set the air pressure so when they build up, they get maximum grip. They're not seeing as much buildup as Ray was talking about, so they're not getting the maximum grip. So I would think more than likely, Ray, some of those teams, if we get another caution flag and they feel like they can give up the track position to make adjustments, they will come in and put a little bit of air in that right front tire, if not both right side tires.
Green flag back in the air. It's Ron Hornaday in front of Jack Sprague. Matt Crafton all over the back bumper of that 09 of Bobby East. Again, Matt Crafton, on our most recent mile-and-a-half racetrack at Lowe's Motor Speedway, was able to get into victory lane. We saw a hard left turn out of both Kyle Busch and the 14 of Rick Crawford. Those two moving toward the front.
Yeah, Kyle was able to get by a couple different trucks. Rick Crawford's going to follow him around there. There's Ty Bodine's going to fight back to the inside of Rick Crawford. That's the truck on the inside, that yellow and black truck. That's Eric Darnell. He's being shown right now 4 laps off the pace.
Eric Darnell slowed on the racetrack again. He had issues earlier, was on pit road a few times. Rick Crawford running that high line here at Texas Motor Speedway.
Ron Hornaday continues to lead. There's his teammate running second, the 2 of Jack Sprague. Johnny Benson, another great run for Johnny, running 3rd. Bobby Easton, a career run, running 4th. And there's the guy that flew all the way from Pocono, Pennsylvania to run this race, Kyle Busch, right now running in the 5th
Scott
spot.
Speed also came from Pocono, and he slides and going to hit the pit wall. Oh, so close. He was able to save it coming out of the grass in the infield, and that brings out another caution, a 6th caution.
Rick Crawford.
Crawford has a lot of damage to that truck. He must have got into the wall.
Looked like he had a left rear tire down on that truck. Tough break for Rick Crawford. He was battling up. He was running 6th the last time they came by the start-finish line. You can see the left rear tire and all the damage it did when it blew out. Rick's going to try to make his way back to pit road. You wonder if maybe Rick Crawford and Scott Speed may have gotten together over there, and that may be what cut down that left rear tire for Rick Crawford.
We're going to take another look to find out. Look at all the damage being done to that pickup now.
That is incredible. Watch here now. See Scott, ooh, there's a damage right there. Scott Speed ran up into the left rear quarter panel of Rick Crawford. That sent Scott with a great save to keep that truck out of the pit wall, but unfortunately it cut down Rick Crawford's left rear tire.
Yeah, there he comes up.
Tough break for Scott Speed, but an even worse break for Rick Crawford. Had a good, solid top 10 run going. Unfortunately, tremendous amount of damage to that circle bar truck.
Yeah, and Rick Crawford, our points leader coming into this race. Obviously, a difficult situation for him now. We see him sliding as that left rear went away. He slaps the wall there. But the damage continues once he starts back up and tries to go back to the pit road. He has to go all the way around this racetrack.
There's Todd Bodine's Lumber Liquidators on. We're going to watch this 14. Well, here comes a 22 of Scott Speed. They're going to make some contact right there. That turns Scott down to the inside. We're going to stay with Todd Bodine right here. Watch Rick Crawford. That left rear tire is already deflating. Todd backs off. He sees Rick. Fortunately for Todd Bodine, he was far enough to the outside when Rick turned around. Didn't get caught up in it. And there's Rick Crawford right there, going to try to repair the damage to the left side of that truck. He's going to try to get back to the racetrack without losing lap. There's Scott Speed right there.
Adam Alexander.
20 consecutive top 15 finishes for Rick Crawford, and you guys talked about him trying to beat the pace truck out, and that was a chore because he had to go all the way around the racetrack with that tire torn up. He finally made it to pit road. They changed left side tires, taped up that left rear, and sent him on his way. But you better believe he'll be back down the pit lane because they didn't come close to getting that truck where it needs to be for him to be competitive the rest of the night.
Yeah, he just blew out the right rear tire as well, Adam. You see, he's got just about as much trouble getting back to pit road now as he did before.
The right front's going to blow too. It's flat as well.
Both the right side tires are flat.
Difficult night for Rick Crawford. What looked to be a potentially victory lane night for Rick Crawford here at Texas Motor Speedway. He had a very strong truck. Now that looks very difficult to be able to come back from this.
Yeah, but Cowboy and the guys aren't going to give up. They're going to get that truck back to pit road. They're actually entering pit road right now. They'll come down pit road, put right side tires on that truck, and try to maybe make some hasty repairs to the left rear quarter panel where that left rear tire came apart. Adam?
Well, and Cowboy Kevin Starlin, the crew chief, has done a great job of orchestrating what he wants the guys to do when they go over the pit wall. He had one set of guys going over to change the right side tires, and you can see it coming off. It is in big time trouble, that right rear. You guys mentioned it was going down, and then the rest of the guys work on the left rear. Not a lot of time. They don't want to lose a lap. They've already sent Rick on his way, but the crew chief doing a great job keeping this team organized as Rick tries to maintain a position on the lead lap and at the same time get this truck back in a condition where he can race.
So Rick Crawford making it off of pit road just in front of that pace truck. Again, Ron Hornaday, Jack Sprague running 1 and 2. Scott Speed, Rick Crawford get into each other on the quad oval, and that brings out a most recent caution. Coming in July to Speed, it's the Network Series premiere of Wrecked, Life in the Crash Lane. Ride with Chicago's toughest family of towers. Discover the untold side of the business of towing and get hooked on Wrecked. Series premiere July 17th exclusively on Speed. A lot of great programming coming up next month. You'll want to make sure to stay tuned right here to Speed.
Rick Crawford so far has been able to stay on the lead lap. Caution flag still out right now for all the debris that those tires that came apart. There's Rick back on pit road one more time. He made a little bit of contact with the driver's side over in the wall when that left rear tire went down. See the guys pulling that left front fender out right now, as well as putting some more barrier bond on that quarter panel. Not sure if the toe is out in that truck or not. I'm sure they've looked at that.
A lot of damage continuing there. We want to take a look at our Aaron's Lucky Guess trivia question. When was the last season when more than one Rookie of the Year won a race?
I don't know.
I'm not going to let you answer.
I don't know.
Obviously, I've got to keep that close to the vest because we got to let the people at home think about it.
You didn't know unless Jimmy told you.
No, nobody's told me yet. I think I know.
Okay.
So I'm gonna hold it within, and we'll give you the answer in just a little bit. You can think about it, and if you have a media guide, take a look at this. Boy, it just continues for Rick Crawford. Sparks flying. A lot of damage has been done to that Ford F-150.
Yeah, you see the left front part of the valance right there and the splitter is dragging the racetrack.
Take a look at the points and what happens. Drops completely out of the top 5. Now, again, our top 10 was separated by 105 points. So a big change in the points tonight. There's your top 10. And now 147 points back is Terry Cook. So Crawford would drop all the way back to the 6th spot, 80 points out of the lead if he would finish in this position. But again, obviously we've got more racing to come from Texas Motor Speedway. Completed 133 of the 167 laps. We're expecting a great finish here at the Great American Speedway. Texas Motor Speedway. The Samstown 400 continues after these messages.
The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series is presented on Speed by Toyota. Moving forward. Brought to you in part by Craftsman. Craftsman tools are the official tools of NASCAR. Craftsman at Sears. And by the new Touch of Gray that lets you keep some gray hair. Touch of Gray for the generation that swore it would never get old.
6th caution of the night here at Texas Motor Speedway under the lights. Always a great sight when you see the trucks running under the lights. And obviously a guy who's running very well under the lights is Kyle Busch, coming all the way from Pocono.
Yeah, let's see if we can talk to Kyle. Hey, Kyle Busch, Phil Parsons up in the speed booth. Can you copy? Hey, Kyle Busch, Phil Parsons, do you hear me? Doesn't look like we're going to be able to talk to Kyle, but great run nonetheless, going top 5 so far. He told us before the race that he was looking just for a top 5 finish to try to get Billy Ballou some owner points, but I think I know Kyle Busch, and I don't think he's going to be satisfied with a 5th place finish.
Oh, no. Obviously, if he's going to travel all the way from Pocono to come to Texas Motor Speedway, he wants to win and wants to get that prize that you get when you win at Texas Motor Speedway, a nice cowboy hat. Actually went to boots for Brendan Gaughan because he had won so many cowboy hats. 4 times Brendan Gaughan won consecutively here at this racetrack. Todd Bodine also has won 4 times. They weren't consecutive, but those 2 lead the drivers for the most wins at Texas Motor Speedway. We want to give you the answer to our Aaron's Lucky Guess trivia question. When was the last season when more than one Rookie of the Year won the race? And I was actually wrong what I thought.
Well, I know now. I mean, Russell
I was thinking it was 2003.
Jimmy wouldn't tell me, but Russell told me.
But it was 2001. Travis Kvapil winning at Texas and Ricky Hendrick winning at Kansas. So that was the last time. That was the last season when more than one Rookie of the Year won a race. And of course the importance of that is we have had 3 first-time winners, although Matt Crafton not a rookie. Donnie Leah won earlier this year. And we take a look at our Rebestos Rookie of the Year standings. Colin Brown still leading that, although again I mentioned Donnie Leah with a win 2 weekends ago.
There's Justin Marks tied with Donnie Leah right now. And remember, they have some mulligans. They don't take, you know, Donnie Leah. Remember now, Donnie Leah didn't run Daytona.
Right.
I think they take maybe the top 14 or best 14 finishes, I think, in the Truck Series. So Donnie Leah is really a race behind. So he really technically would be second had he run as many races as the rest of the guys have.
We've had the Aaron's Lucky Guess. Now the Aaron's Lucky Dog going to Colin Brown, that Rebestos Rookie of the Year leader. So he will get a lap back. And it's been a tough night for a few different trucks on the racetrack, one of those being Colin Brown. Let's take another look at the race summary as to what has taken place this evening here at Texas Motor Speedway. Again, The big story coming in from Pocono, trying to make it a triple this weekend. The Craftsman Truck Series, the Nationwide, and the Cup Series. Kyle Busch makes it for the start of this race.
Lap number 60, our first incident on the racetrack. Eric Almirola, driving for Morgan Dollar Motorsports in the 46 Chevrolet, loses it coming off turn 2, makes some contact with the inside wall.
Lap 86, Stacy Compton's engine expires, so a very short night for the number 4 Dodge.
Lap number 112, Colin Brown gets a little bit loose coming off turn number 2, makes a little bit of contact with the right side. That's enough to cut down that right rear tire. When it gets over to the front stretch, this is when business picks up here. That right rear tire goes down. Colin does a nice job keeping it out of the outside wall. Just got the lucky dog to get back on the lead lap.
Tire the issue once again for the 08 of Jason White. There was tire smoke in the right front earlier, and then it goes away, and right into the wall he goes.
Lap number 131, Scott Speed, Rick Crawford make contact. Scott spins down through the infield grass, does a nice job keeping that truck off the inside wall, but unfortunately it cut down the left rear tire for Rick Crawford. Rick loses that tire over at 1 and 2.
Rick Crawford has been on pit road numerous times for this caution, but we're back to green, and so we're back to racing. Ron Hornaday in front of his teammate Jack Sprague. Then it's Johnny Benson, Bobby East, and Kyle Busch, your top 5.
Kyle Busch jumps around that 09 of Bobby East. He moves up another spot. Todd Bodine and Chad McCumbee got real close. Look at Kyle on the inside of the racetrack.
He was almost sideways coming out of turn number 2. And now holding on to the 4th spot as he's closed the gap between himself and the 23 of Johnny Benson.
Look at Johnny move to the inside of Jack Sprague.
Benson trying to make the pass as they go through the quad oval. Now here comes Jack Sprague moving back up on the outside of the racetrack.
Johnny's going to be able to make that pass stick and chase down that 33 truck of Ron Hornaday.
29 laps of racing remaining here at Texas Motor Speedway. Johnny Benson moves up to 2nd. Jack Sprague has dropped back to 3rd, but that's in jeopardy as Todd Bodine looks on with his lumber liquidators on board, watching the battle for 3rd between Kyle Busch on the inside, Jack Sprague on the outside.
Remember, Kyle's in the highest position he's had this entire race. Remember, starting all the way back at the back of the field. They've made considerable adjustments to that truck, and now he's worked his way into a battle for 3rd.
He realized the length of this race, didn't need to get up front until the final laps, and obviously it's working for him as now he looks to the inside of Jack Sprague once again for 3rd.
Remember, Jack's truck has been pretty good on the outside. He's able to hold off Kyle right there, pulls back out in front of him.
So it's Jack Sprague, then Kyle Busch, Todd Bodine, and Bobby East battling for 5th.
Hey, there's Ted Musgrave right there. We haven't talked a whole lot about Ted. He's having a great run. He won this race here last fall. He's up in the top 10 right now, running 7th.
Right behind that 09 of Bobby East. Right.
Hey guys, you know, when we look at the statistics for mile-and-a-half racetracks, we always got to talk about Todd Bodine. Will he be a factor in this race tonight? Well, right now I would say no. Todd is saying on the radio that his truck is so tight through the center that he just can't hardly turn it. And when he gets up tight behind somebody, it's even worse. So I don't know. He has dropped back now to get a little bit of air on the nose of that thing. Will he be a factor? We'll wait and see. But usually on mile-and-a-half tracks, Todd certainly is. Adam?
And the guys upstairs were talking about Ted Musgrave, who won this race when the Truck Series was here last November. Very competitive here tonight. They've had to work on this machine throughout the evening and worked hard on it yesterday in practice. He started 14th because he got a terrible draw in qualifying. It was very windy when he made his qualifying laps. The crew chief, Danny Rollins, said this is the best truck he's ever had here, and Ted driving it like he knows how.
Again, lap 143 of 167. Todd Bodine carrying the Lumber Liquidators camera as he looks back on Bobby East. Again, Todd Bodine not so happy with the handling of his truck right now, but still running in the top 5.
Yeah, Bobby East, a great run. He would love to get that one more position at least to get that Zaxby's Ford up into the top 5. See Kyle Busch and Jack Sprague continuing the battle for that 3rd position.
Again, at the restart, it was Ron Hornaday and Jack Sprague running 1 and 2. Now it's been Johnny Benson who's been the truck on the move as he has closed the gap and got behind that 33 of Ron Hornaday. Jack Sprague's dropped back to third. Kyle Busch moved from fifth to fourth. So he holds that position now as Todd Bodine has dropped back to fifth. Bobby East back to the sixth spot. Then Matt Crafton sitting in seventh. Running eighth is Chad McCumbee. And 10th is Mike Skinner.
There's Chad McCumbee right there. Chad's in the 8th position. He's got the 88 of Matt Crafton, our winner at Lowe's Motor Speedway, right behind him. See, Chad started in the 10th position, currently runs in the 8th spot. Pretty solid run on a mile and a half. Chad's awfully good on the mile and a half. Pretty solid run for that team.
Yeah, he's had some success at this racetrack and was really in position to win this race a year ago, and it didn't work out for him.
Remember, when Matt Crafton won that race at Lowe's Motor Speedway, you remember who finished second, right?
Oh, so close.
Yeah, that guy right there. That 8 truck right there.
Oh, so close.
Chad
McCumbee.
McCumbee.
And now Matt Crafton all over the back bumper of Chad McCumbee. Again, just 22 laps of racing to go from Texas Motor Speedway.
Good battle for the 10th spot right there. Mike Skinner, the 5 Toyota, has the 10th spot. Our pole sitter and rookie Justin Marks, Construct Corp Toyota. Teammate to Todd Bodine runs in the trouble.
Just in front, Ted
Ted
Musgrave. Looks as though he's had an engine expire on him.
Caution flag is out. You saw the smoke come out of the tailpipes. Oh, David Starr gets turned around. Makes contact with the inside wall.
And probably some fluid on the racetrack from that 59.
Yeah, or possibly David slowing down in the truck behind him, not getting the message and running in the back of David. We'll have to see if we can got a look at that.
Difficult for the Red Horse Racing team as David Starr. A lot of damage. You see the 59 gliding in.
There's Ted Musgrave right there. He's driving right behind the 09 of Bobby East. You see the engine let go right there. Obviously a little bit of fluid on the racetrack. Ted got a little bit loose. And then in the aftermath, David Starr gets caught up in something and unfortunately makes some contact with the inside wall. There's another view right there. Let's see if we can see that 11 truck of David Starr. Looks like he got run into from behind. I don't know if that might have been Scott's speed, possibly. I don't know if Scott was that far up.
It looked like a black and yellow truck, almost like Todd Bodine, but obviously Bodine was in front of him. So it couldn't have been that. Possibly Eric Darnell.
Yeah, a lot of damage to that pitnow.com Toyota for Red Horse Racing. You can see the guys trying to get left front fender pulled out of that truck right there. See, David's finished third 3 times here at this racetrack. Never quite got that win that he so desperately would love to get, being a native of Texas.
Houston, Texas, what David calls his hometown. And you see just what kind of damage is done to these race trucks.
So that's a bad sign there. You see, look at all the oil underneath that truck right there. He's obviously busted an oil line or the oil cooler, maybe the heat exchanger that cools that oil.
Yeah, it looks like that might be the end of the night for the 11 team and David Starr. The right front tire is also flat on that truck. So they're working on the left side. Haven't really even put any attention to the right side of that truck as they're putting some Speedy Dry down on the racetrack now to try to clean up any fluid that was put on the racetrack. Again, Hornaday still out in front. Johnny Benson was able to get by Jack Sprague, and so he took over the second spot from Sprague. Sprague runs third, and then it's Kyle Busch. What an amazing run he has had. And we talked a little bit about our pole sitter, Justin Marks, at the beginning, what he needed to do to consider this a good run. And I think right now he's doing exactly that. He was running pretty much in the top 10 most of the night. Now he's dropped back to the 11th spot.
Actually, we'll take over 10th by virtue of Ted
Musgrave
falling out. But there's Donnie Lee. We haven't talked a whole lot about Donnie, who obviously with that such a big win at Mansfield a couple weeks ago, and nice steady progress. See Donnie right now running in the 12th position, so he's knocking on the door of another top 10 finish. Mark Mitchell, the Aragon Toyota. That's a teammate to Kyle Busch right there. Mark's got a great run going. Mark's best career finishes the 13th he got at Daytona back in February.
Mark, one of the drivers that had never competed at Texas Motor Speedway, so this will obviously be his best Texas finish, but looking to have another solid performance here tonight on the 1.5 miles. There's Brian Scott in that 16.
Yeah, the Albertson Chevrolet, a nice run for Brian Scott. Good top 15 finish going, 14th right now. Would love to get a couple more spots. Again, same situation as a lot of these young drivers. Scott's a very young guy trying to get some experience. He ran a handful of races at the end of last year. Going to run the full schedule here, doing a nice job tonight.
Pushing the 11, it looks like they might get him behind the wall. So a difficult night for David Starr. Will it be Ron Hornaday that makes his way to victory lane tonight? We're about to find out when we come back. Another big NASCAR weekend, the Nationwide Series from Nashville tomorrow on ESPN2. Then Sunday, it is Pocono and the Sprint Cup Series on TNT. Next weekend, Friday, the qualifying for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series at 1:30 p.m. Then Saturday, we're back in action at Michigan International Speedway for the NCTS 200.
And you know what all those shows right there have in common?
We'll be at those?
Oh, no, wait a minute. No, we won't.
Kyle Busch. All of them Kyle Busch is involved with. Yes, again, Kyle Busch will go back to Pocono tonight. Then he'll make his way back to Nashville tomorrow. Then he'll go back to Pocono and race on Sunday. So a very busy weekend for Kyle Busch, who currently runs in the 4th spot. Ray Dunlap.
Well, let's hear from Rick Wren. He's on top of the box for Ron Hornaday. Rick, you guys have been up front most of the night tonight. Any concerns about the final laps here at Texas?
No, I think these cautions are, I really didn't want to see this last one. I'd just soon it played out, but I think the cautions are in our favor. We had one set of tires didn't agree with us, so I played with a little bit of air pressure. And we were the best on the first run out of the box today, so I put everything back like we were. So I tried to save the best set of tires. And I mean, I got the best guy in the business on restarts out front. And I'll tell you what, my pit crew guys have really been working hard. They got us out front every stop tonight. My front tire changer, Gary, he's twisted his ankle, so he's down a little bit. And I'd like to say good job to Scott Speed, because I'm telling you, somebody on pit road could have really got hurt bad. He did one heck of a job to keep from driving into pit wall, and I got to give my hats off to that kid. And I also want to thank all the fans that are loyal to NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, because this is the best racing in NASCAR.
It's good stuff, and we're going to see if Rick Wren and Ron Hornaday can hold on to get another victory tonight here. And as I said, this is the same truck they used to go to victory lane at Kansas.
And Rick Wren talked about how good Hornaday is on the short run. Johnny Benson's been good on the long run, and his crew chief is Trip Bruce. So can you get him here?
Yeah, you know, you're exactly right. Johnny's a finesse driver. The truck's been really good on the long run. We even ran good with no tires earlier, just as good as we did on stickers. So these cautions aren't playing into our hands at all. Hornaday, he's kind of a go-getter on the restarts there. So it's not going to help us any, but Johnny can wear him down, you know, and he's got another chance to do it, so that's what I have to do. I just really like everybody to know we're proud to have this Brangus Toyota Tundra up front, keeping it up front this week, you know, and I hope we get a good finish out of this for everybody.
And JB entered 64 points out in the 5th position in the standings, so a second wouldn't be all bad, guys.
No, it definitely catapulted him up toward the top of the point standings.
Got a terrific crowd here, but Rick Wren said he really appreciated the fans coming out, obviously, as well as we do. And here's Scott Speed right there. He also wanted to give a shout out to Scott Speed when we saw that incident with he and Rick Crawford coming off turn number 4. There's a contact right there. Just sends Scott right towards the inside. He does a nice job. I mean, a terrific job. He is headed straight for it inside pit wall, and watch him steer that thing. And look at all those guys run back there, and I don't blame them. That's a 3,400-pound vehicle coming right at that wall, and yeah, Scott did a super job of avoiding it.
Again, Scott Speed also coming from Pocono earlier today, qualified for the ARCA REMAX Series race that will be held tomorrow and grabbed the pole position. So now starting here in the 16th spot, but having to drop back for the start of the race, currently running in the 17th position.
Yeah, Scott has not been able to overcome the track position he lost when he made that little trip through the grass and down pit road, but nonetheless a great job by Scott Speed, and this very first time I've ever seen this racetrack.
Yeah. Pretty amazing. We see the trucks again, nose to tail, getting ready to get back underway. There's only 14 laps of racing remaining. There'll be 13 when they come back to the start-finish line for the restart. And actually, they put the lights back on the pace truck, so it looks like they're going to go around again as they continue to clean this racetrack. it was Ted Musgrave who the engine expired on as he was going through turns 1 and 2, and then coming just behind him in the 11, David Starr got turned around coming out of turn 2 and then got into the inside wall. So extensive damage to the 11. The engine expired on the 59, so those two trucks are off the racetrack. And that moved the 9 of Justin Marks into the top 10. But again, it's been a battle up front between Ron Hornaday and a couple different drivers, one of those being Johnny Benson, the other one being his teammate, Jack Sprague.
Yeah, NASCAR officials are going to take this opportunity to make sure the track's clean. We're going to have a shootout here. Right now we have 14 laps to go. They'll make a buzz through there and make sure all the debris is blown off this racetrack so we can have a great finish here. See if Johnny Benson can do anything with Ron Hornaday.
Ray Dunlap.
Well, Rick, I'm down here in the pit area for the number 33 truck, Ron Hornaday, and as Rick Wren said, he's got the best guy in the business, master of the restarts, right? I know you and Phil are favorites of the casinos, so I got a little chip for you. You got to get one of these for sure. A little casino chip for Ron Hornaday, master of the restarts. Isn't that pretty cool? Lindy Hornaday showed me that earlier. They've got that on the backside. It says 3-time NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series champion, but master of the restarts. That, I don't know what that would be worth at the casino.
I was going to say, Ray, what do I get when I bet that in, say, blackjack?
I don't know, but probably 33 cents.
Well, that's pretty cool. You have your own, I guess, poker chip.
Yeah. There's Rick Wren has one as well.
Lucky poker chip as well. Keeps that in his pocket. We'll see if it turns out to be lucky tonight at Texas Motor Speedway. Get lights flashing on the pace truck, meaning that they're not going back by, or they're not going back to green next time by. You know, Phil, what an amazing experience that Michigan International Speedway is making available to fans. The first 500 are going to be able to have all access garage passes if they go to MI Speed. Out more about how to be a part of the Speed Be There garage experience.
Yeah, again, all the people that I've ever taken, and I'm not sure what Todd has on the top of that helmet, by the way.
Is that a mohawk? It's like it's a Todd Bodine mohawk on the outside of his helmet.
Yeah. Well, Todd doesn't have a whole lot of hair up there, so maybe he's trying something new. But anyway, that is a terrific experience. Everybody I've ever taken to the racetrack has had such a great time being down there with the guys and, the vehicles and everything that goes with it. It's incredible what these guys do in the garage area in just a matter of moments.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't realize, you know, a lot of people will see these things on TV and they'll think, okay, wow, you know, they're racing a truck. And then they get right beside it and they're, well, this is shorter than what I thought it was going to be. And you know, there's a lot more things inside one of these trucks than I ever imagined. And so when you get really up close and personal, which Michigan International Speedway is letting fans do, it's really an amazing experience.
It really is. And essentially, these trucks right here are very much underneath the same as a Nationwide car or a Sprint Cup car, with the roll cages and the frames and things like that. But terrific opportunity for a lot of people to get that garage experience.
Coming up to the final 10 laps here at Texas Motor Speedway. Out in front, it's Ron Hornaday, then Johnny Benson running in the second spot as we're getting ready to go back to green. Jack Sprague runs third. Kyle Busch, could he be the villain tonight and steal a win away from Ron Hornaday? He runs in the fourth spot. Then fifth, Todd Bodine in that number 30 Lumber Liquidators Toyota Tundra.
Yeah, the sixth place, Bobby East. Chad McCumbee 7th, and Matt Craftsman running 8th right now, getting ready to restart this race.
Mike Skinner 9th, rounding out the top 10 is the 9 of Justin Marks. They come through 3 and 4. Now the field all in line behind Ron Hornaday. The green flag back out at Texas.
Look at Kyle Busch moves to the inside.
Jack Sprague moved up a bit. Kyle Busch took advantage of that move. He's moved to third, right on the back bumper of Johnny Benson. Does Johnny Benson have enough laps to keep that momentum going? As they were talking, Trip Bruce said the longer runs are better for us. Kyle Busch now up to second.
How about that? What a strong move by Kyle Busch. He gets Jack Sprague on the restart and then gets by Johnny through 1 and 2 and off of 2.
One lap, he moves up 2 spots. He takes over second. And now on the back bumper of that 33 of Ron Hornaday.
Let's see if Kyle Busch has saved anything. That 33 truck has been so strong this entire race.
Kyle Busch looking to add to his win column this season in 2008. It's been amazing in the Cup Series, the Nationwide Series. Only 2 wins in the Truck Series. Looking to make it 3.
Look at Ron Hornaday right now. He sees that different truck behind him. He has not seen that 51 truck this entire race. He doesn't know what Kyle Busch may have.
Well, he knows Kyle Busch is back there because I'm sure his spotter has said the 51 is 1 truck length back. Top 4 spreading out. Ron Hornaday. There's a mirror full of Kyle Busch.
Yeah, good exit of the corner that time for Ron Hornaday. He was able to beat Kyle from the center and off the corner. Both those trucks running right down on the bottom of the racetrack.
I'm sure there's been a lot of radio communication going on right now in that 33 team, Ray.
Well, Rick Corelli is the spotter for Ron Hornaday, and of course, anytime they refer to Kyle Busch, they never mention his name. They just say, hey, the black truck is behind you once again. They don't say Kyle Busch, they don't say 51, they just call him the black truck.
So that's Lindy over on the left side of your screen, Lindy Hornaday.
She's been in this position a lot of times, as many races as Ron's.
Yeah, just 34 wins for Ron Hornaday, the series leader, all-time wins. And now he's putting some distance between himself and Kyle Busch. Here's a good battle back here between Justin Marks and Mike Skinner. Marks trying to take away the 10th spot from Skinner.
Justin Marks right there and Mike Skinner battling for that 10th position. Justin gets a little bit loose. Ooh, Brian Scott bounced off the wall coming off of 2.
Yeah, Brian Scott also a little loose and gets into the wall. Scott Speed just in front of him in that 22.
There's Mark Mitchell right there, the 15 truck going way, way wide on the outside. Ray Dunlap.
It's certainly not odd to see Kyle Busch up front, but how odd is it to see Mike Skinner running back in 11th when we're talking about Texas Motor Speedway? Skinner is in a very foul mood tonight. He and Jeff Hensley have been communicating about all the different things they've tried to do with that number 5 Toyota Tundra, but he said it's just not into the racetrack. Very, very tight for Skinner. Going through the corners, he says he just feels like they've got no grip throughout the course of the night tonight. So Skinner looking to maybe not even be in the top 10 tonight here at Texas.
And that's so amazing. As strong as that team was last year, what a terrific season they had. They led the points just about the entire time, won a bunch of races, and so strong here. Qualified in the front row both races last year. Mike Skinner finished 2nd and 3rd in the 2 races here last year.
His average finish 4.75 in the 8 starts. So Skinner really looking to, I guess, maybe almost put this one behind him. Speaking of putting behind, Ron Hornaday would really like to keep Kyle Busch behind him as Kyle Busch now starts to reel back in that 33. There's quite a gap between Ron Hornaday and Kyle Busch after they spread out, but now, well, Hornaday's still looking strong in front of Kyle.
Yeah, Kyle right now, he can smell the lead, but he doesn't appear to be able to do anything with Hornaday. What Kyle needs right now, believe it or not, is a caution flag and a restart. He's made so many passes on the restart. There's Scott Speed, the 22, going to take over the 12th position from the 9 of Justin Marks. Scott's making his way back towards the top 10.
Mark Mitchell's being scored in the 11th spot, so a good run for Mark Mitchell. As we get down to the final 3 laps from Texas Motor Speedway, just under 5 miles to go in this race. Long one, Skinner into the wall. As he gets the wall, Mark Mitchell gets the rebound of that, and now Scott Speed looking to the inside. Any problem? Speed into the wall. Scott Speed into the wall hard, and that will bring out another caution, the 8th caution of the night. And it comes out here at Texas Motor Speedway, and guess what? We're going to have a green-white checker.
Yeah, tough break right there. Scott Speed was trying to take advantage of Mike Skinner bouncing off the wall. He and Mark Mitchell running side by side. Scott dove to the inside. There was almost looked like he might even have got to the flat, but he just couldn't quite make the corner there. Lindy said, boy, we didn't need another restart.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. And now, Ron Hornaday, the master of restarts, will restart in front of that 51 of Kyle Busch. This will be the third green-white checkered finish this season.
There's Mike Skinner bouncing off the wall. Then Mark Mitchell going to be side by side. Scott's going to make the move on the inside. Just ran out of room. Mark came down, and Scott made just slight bit of contact with Mark's left rear quarter panel, and then just sent Scott's speed hard into the outside wall.
And it was very tight quarters there as Scott Speed was trying to take that position away. It was a battle for position between all three. You take a look at it, a lot of momentum for Scott Speed, but then entering the corner, they've got to check up and just not enough real estate.
Yeah, they ran out of room. I don't know that Mark Mitchell even knew that Scott was down there, because he really squeezed Scott down to the inside of the racetrack, and then Scott made slight bit of contact with the left rear quarter panel of Mark Mitchell, and then around he went hard into the outside wall. There's another view right there. You see Mike Skinner doing his best to hold off Mark Mitchell. He makes contact with the wall coming off the corner. That just seizes their momentum up, and Scott Speed has a tremendous run. Can't quite get up beside him getting in the corner. Gets squeezed down and then hard contact.
How about Mark Mitchell? A good save. I mean, Mark Mitchell was able to keep that thing pointed in the right direction.
Yeah, terrific save by Mark Mitchell.
You see the spring flying off of that 22 and the safety crew and the track crew now cleaning up the racetrack. So we're going to go past the scheduled distance of 167 laps at Texas Motor Speedway. I believe for either the fourth or fifth time in a row we've had a green-white checkered finish here. Adam Alexander.
Well, of course, Kyle Busch restarting behind Ron Hornaday, and perhaps the caution what they needed. Richie Waters, the crew chief, and you know what, on that last restart, and Richie directing the crew a bit here, on that last restart, Richie, he was able to pick off 2 trucks. So is the caution what you guys needed to have a chance at victory here?
Well, I don't know. Our truck ain't been that good all night. We've been tight in the middle, loose off, and I don't know. We'll see. Hornaday's a good restarter. Kyle's one of the best at the restarts, too, so we'll see what we got. It'll come down to them 2, or maybe Johnny can sneak by both of us. Who knows? It'll be crazy. Last 2 laps.
And you know what? Kyle, as we said earlier, didn't come here to finish second, right?
Well, Adam, Rick was asking about the green-white checkered. 73rd time in series history that will go green-white checkered, but how about this? The 5th consecutive race here at Texas that will have a green-white checkered finish. No other racetrack on the Craftsman Truck Series has had that many. We'll have 5 in a row here at Texas. Hornaday versus Rowdy Busch. What a finish coming up here at Texas.
Yeah, and you know what, Ray? Neither one of these two have won at Texas before. So Ron Hornaday looking for his first Texas win, as is Kyle Busch looking for his first Truck Series Texas win. He's got a nationwide win at this racetrack, but would like to add to that in the wins column. Only 2 wins in the Craftsman Truck Series in 08 for Kyle Busch. We'll be back with the finish of the Sam's Town 400.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our loyal fans for your continued support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.
NASCAR race day built by the Home Depot against Sunday, 10:30 a.m. Eastern from Pocono Raceway.
Half hour earlier than normal. Kyle and Tony Stewart are scheduled guests for race day.
If they can wake him up. I'm guessing he's going to be about as tired as you could be on Sunday. After running this race here in Texas, he goes back to Pocono tomorrow morning and then off to Nashville for the Nationwide Series race.
Yeah. Well, he's got a lot of work to do left tonight. Now he's got 2 more laps here to race, and he's going to try to figure out a way to get around the restart master, Ron Hornaday.
Kyle Busch might ask for a poker chip if he's able to get by Ron Hornaday.
I wonder if Johnny Benson's sitting there thinking, well, I wonder if those 2 guys get together.
There's that poker chip.
Yeah.
Rick Rinn's rubbing it for luck.
Richie Waters right there.
What's it going to take? We're about to find out. The green flag back in the air. Hornaday, Kyle Busch, 1 and 2. 2 laps to go.
Good start by Hornaday, but Kyle's right there.
Hornaday right on the bottom of the racetrack. Kyle Busch now a truck length behind as he tries to close that gap as they go down the backstretch. What's going to happen with Busch?
Kyle gets a little run on him right there. Hornaday's going to block. Going to make that truck wide.
Hornaday stays to the bottom of the track, as does Kyle Busch. Right behind him, it's Johnny Benson looking for any kind of slip. One lap to go. Ron Hornaday in front of Kyle Busch.
See if Ron Hornaday can put another couple corners together.
Ron Hornaday's best finish at Texas Motor Speedway in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series is 4th. Looking to improve on that, and the only way to make it better is to get to victory lane. Through 3 and 4, it's looking good. Ron Hornaday will win his 35th NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race.
Terrific job by Ron Hornaday, but Kyle Busch, what a job he did. Never sat in that truck till the green flag fell. Started at the very back of the pack. Truck was not good to start with. They worked on it, got a second place finish, but take nothing away from that 33 truck, Ron Hornaday.
Ron Hornaday on top of the point standings once again. No one has ever gone back-to-back as champions in this series. Ron Hornaday comes into 2008 your series champion. Ray Dunlap.
Well, let's hear from Rick Wren. Hornaday pretty excited about winning Texas. What's so special about this place?
All these years, all these races that he's dominated, it's the first time he's ever won. And that's the most excited I've heard him at the end of a race. I mean, he's screaming, Yahoo, we won Texas. He's wanted to win here so bad since the inception of this great racetrack. And we just come up short. I mean, we had both races won last year and come up short. So I think it's like one of those, I always wanted to win Eldora. It took me lots of years, but I finally won at Eldora once. It's just, I don't know, it's just one of those things when you want something so bad you don't think it's ever coming.
Go enjoy victory lane. That's Rick Wren. Win number 17 for him, 35 for Hornaday. Let's go back to Adam Alexander.
And Kyle Busch has climbed from the race truck, and you came a long way. I know you wanted to win this one, a tough way to come home second. They worked on the truck all night long. Your thoughts on the race, Kyle?
What a piece of crap. But we fixed it, made the most of it. Got to give it to this team. You know, they worked hard all day, I'm sure. They unloaded with a good baseline, and JR did the best he could, but man, it just wasn't for me here in the beginning, and we worked on it and made so many adjustments to it all night. And luckily, we made it home second. Congratulations to Hornaday. I just didn't get a good restart there and enough to get alongside of him or anything, so couldn't make a race of it. But we came home second for Mikusuki and NOS Energy Drink and Billy Blue Motorsports, so that's all we can do, get on to Nashville tomorrow.
The first third of the weekend is over for Kyle Busch, and as he said, on to Nashville tomorrow night.
He looks a little tired, Phil.
He does. 200 miles here, or 250 miles. And he's going to have another probably 300 miles tomorrow night, 500 on Sunday.
About a 3-hour plane ride back to Pocono, and well, even the injured one's going to hop to victory lane. They're going to celebrate. This is the first win for Ron Hornaday at Texas Motor Speedway, and he is going to live it up. Opposite ends of the spectrum. When we started this race, we talked about 3 first-time winners in the series. Could there be a 4th? No. It's going to be a guy who's won more than anybody in the series. Ron Hornaday makes it to victory lane for the 35th time in his career. Ray Dunlap.
Eddie Gossage comes in to give him a little celebration. Ron Hornaday is going to climb out of this Camping World Chevrolet, and you could hear the enthusiasm in his voice on the radio. Obviously, Texas was a big deal. Ron, what a race truck you had. Dominant fashion tonight here at Texas. Congratulations. We've been here 21 times, and now you got a victory.
Right here. I'll tell you what, Jack Sprague had the best truck on that one run, and Rick changed the air pressures on last run, and I didn't think I had nothing for him because we have a problem with third gear right now and just come up off the corner, and Benson was getting us. But first of all, I got to thank Camping World, Chevrolet, Kevin and Delana. This is awesome. We're going to get road loans, Ream.
What's so special about Texas?
You know, this is a truck we ran at Lowe's, and we blew that right front. Todd got into us. And Texas, we've been running good here. I've been, I don't know how many laps I led here, but Eddie Goss and all the folks here at Texas just put on a great show, and I finally won one here. And first time I'm out of breath. I'm actually happy, Kevin. This is cool. Delana, thank you very much for everything. This is awesome.
All right, lots of excitement from Ron Hornaday, and this is a very happy crew down here. Guys gave him a dominating truck tonight, and he showed it. Win number 35 for Ron Hornaday. Back to victory lane here at Texas. Adam?
Fourth top 5 of the year for Johnny Benson, and a solid night for you guys. You drifted back early, but you worked on it all evening long and end up with a top 5.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't qualify as good as we'd like to for sure. I mean, our Breeders Toyota ran extremely well. I got to really thank TRD, all the guys at the engine shop, all the guys that build these bodies. Trip Bruce and the guys, man, they do a tremendous job, and it was a lot of fun. I don't know how we got suckered on that one start. I mean, 51 came from two cars back and got by us all but 33, which is great for Toyota for sure. So I was kind of hoping he'd get by to 33 or at least us, but we just fell a little bit short. But really also got to thank Toyota Certified Used Vehicles, Exide Batteries, Valvoline, just everybody involved. They just do a tremendous job week in and week out, and just pretty happy. The guys did a good job. Wish we would have finished obviously 2 spots better, but it was a pretty good run for us.
And a great points night for Johnny Benson as well, guys.
Certainly, Johnny Benson moving up to the 3rd spot in the points. We want to take a look at tonight's Touch of Gray winning touch moment. It has got to be this final restart, Phil.
It really was. And if you're going to have a restart to win a race, you're going to want Ron Hornaday in it. We saw Kyle Busch pass several vehicles on the restart. He admitted he did not get that great a restart. Ron Hornaday got a terrific restart, held off Kyle Busch for the 35th victory of his career.
Just from in Touch of Gray, and obviously the 49-year-old Ron Hornaday, he doesn't have to worry about Touch of Gray. He's in victory lane right now as we take a look at our unofficial results. Ron Hornaday, Kyle Busch, Johnny Benson, Jack Sprague, and Todd Bodine. Veterans in your top 5 tonight. Then it was Chad McCumbee. He was the one name we were throwing out there that might be that next first-time winner in this series.
Here, Dennis Sitzer fought back from a couple laps down, ends up with an 11th place finish. Mark Mitchell, a good run. Brian Scott as well, a good top 15 finish. Justin Marks, our pole sitter, gets a top 15.
Mark Mitchell, that's a career best for him as he comes home in the 12th spot. You see difficulties for Rick Crawford, Colin Brown tonight. Both of those trucks involved in accidents.
There's Scott Speed, made the trip from Pocono, finishes back in the 26th position after that accident very, very late in the race. We'll see him tomorrow night at 10 o'clock live on Speed for the ARCA REMAX Series.
Race in Pocono. Want to take a look at our Royal Purple point standings. Ron Hornaday back on top, so he's moved back the 2 spots that he had lost. Rick Crawford drops all the way back to a tie for the 5th position with Jack Sprague. So still just 157 points separating our top 10. Adam Alexander.
3rd top 5 of the year for Jack Sprague, moves to 5th in the standings, and it won't be long before we have a KHI role reversal, and you're celebrating. You guys are really close, Jack.
We are really close, and I just want to thank Kevin and Delaney and everybody at KHI for working so hard. And this is a brand new team, and 9 or 10 races into this thing, and we've had a shot to win several. And I had the truck tonight. Ernie and the guys gave me a great road loan Chevrolet, and on the long runs I could just drive away. And especially that set of tires there we put 65, 70 laps on. That thing was awesome, and I could keep up with Ron and them guys on the restarts, which is very unusual, so I knew I was in good shape. And that last set of tires, I don't know, we made no adjustments, and I was just sideways in and tight in the middle and sideways off, and it would never come to me. I could never get a hold of it. And then we never had long green flag run the last 60 laps or 50 laps. That didn't help us, but still the tires, I couldn't get a hold of anything, whereas I could earlier on the other sets of tires. So it's just unfortunate we picked that set to go on last, but just like to say hi to my wife and kids, and I love them, and I'll be home in a little while. But it was a good run for us, but Adam, I want to win.
And it won't be long. Jack Sprague back in the top 5 again tonight.
Again, Sunday, Pocono. NASCAR race day built by the Home Depot. A new time, 10:30 a.m. Eastern, so a little bit earlier. Kyle Busch and Tony Stewart will be guests of the NASCAR race day built by the Home Depot. Next up for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, we move to the 2-mile racetrack, Michigan International Speedway.
We'll also have your qualifying. Absolutely. I grew up in Detroit. As you can see right there, Friday afternoon at 1:30, we'll have qualifying on Speed.
Again, it's the Cool City Customs 200 from Michigan International Speedway, a great racetrack. Again, a 2-mile racetrack. We go from the 1.5 miles here at Texas Motor Speedway to the 2-mile of Michigan International Speedway.
Ron Hornaday will try to make it back-to-back wins next week at Michigan. Kyle Busch will try to get back in victory lane.
Kyle Busch, only 2 wins on the season in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. He's had success and every other facet of NASCAR racing. Again, trackside will follow us immediately concluding this race. It was some great side-by-side racing, a little bumping and banging, some into the wall, some blowing tires, but it was definitely a handful for all the drivers tonight here at Texas Motor Speedway. Everyone enjoys Texas Motor Speedway when we come here. Great finishes, and once again, for the 5th time in a row, green-white checkered, and the lucky chip goes to the 33. Hornaday wins at Texas.